Chapter 770. With a long roar, Tang Sin broke through the restriction of the ring on the stone pillar. An invisible force stirred up the surroundings. The churning waves slowly calmed down, as if they were affected by this formless aura. The other 8 people looked at Tang San one after another. An ocean blue light flowed in his eyes. It was as if they were the sea, and they contained a vast and boundless power. Wang Feng, who was still on the stone pillar in the distance, opened his eyes and looked at Tang San. He thought to himself, what a powerful spiritual power. He didn't know how Little Three's mental strength had increased. Wang Feng thought for a while. When he saw the pupils in Tang San's eyes, he couldn't help but wonder, could it be the purple demon eyes? It can also be used to cultivate spiritual power. With the help of the sea god's test and his crazy destruction in the past 2 days, Tang San should be the one who improved his spiritual power the most. Because if the purple demon eyes could really cultivate spiritual power, the improvement would be huge. However, although this spiritual power is huge, it doesn't seem to be comparable to my own spiritual power. Wang Fen sensed it. His spiritual power had already materialized a long time ago, from the initial condensation of mist to the current boundless ocean in his sea of consciousness. It could be said that it had reached a limit. Wang Feng couldn't improve it at all. Wang Feng didn't know what to do with this bottleneck. In other words, the next step was to condense the liquid into a solid again. But Wang Feng didn't know how to do it. He also reached a bottleneck in the front secret character. Vaguely, Wang Feng felt that the future would be different. It was subtle and not obvious. If it had to be divided into ranks, Wang Feng's spiritual power rank was far higher than his soul rank. In the past 5 months, although Wang Feng increased the impact of the waves, he still controlled it to a point. Therefore, the 9 people barely managed to persevere. If they persevered, the improvement would be huge, but the process was also painful. And because the impact of the waves became stronger, there was a subtle change in their test. It was equivalent to 1 person withstanding twice the waves. They all ended the test early. After Tang San finished, the sound of the end of the test rang in the minds of the other 8 people one by one, and the content of the next test appeared. In these 5 months, the pressure on the 9 of them was no less than the test on the Sea God Mountain. It took a total of 10 months for Tang San and the other 8 people to complete the assessment. After passing through, everyone descended from the sea and lay on the black reef, gazing at the blue sky and white clouds. He recalled the persistence of the past 5 months as if he was dreaming. Third brother, you were the first to pass the test. How's your improvement? Ma Hongjun looked at Tang San. Tang San smiled and said, it's very important. It's mainly because of my spiritual force. He had already cultivated his purple demon eyes to the highest level. Once his spiritual power reached a certain limit, he might not be much weaker than senior possessee. How strong is he? Everyone was curious. His mental strength had always been vague, and there was no way to cultivate it. It seemed that he could only improve it on his own. Although the effect was great, but Tang Sin pondered for a moment. Then, his skull suddenly appeared. A beam of purple light as thick as an ancient tree with a hint of blue suddenly blasted into the distant sea. This was the skull's sole skill, purple divine light. It was a penetrating attack. In addition to having a certain degree of destructive power, it was also a kind of spiritual attack. Its power was completely linked to one's spiritual power. The purple beam of light bombarded the sea. With just its destructive power, it directly caused a monstrous wave of hundreds of meters on the sea surface. It was the simplest and most straightforward way to display the strength of one's spiritual power. If the purple divine light directly landed in the eyes of the opponent through the eyes, it could penetrate the opponent's spiritual soul. Even a titled Douluo would be greatly affected. It had reached a new level. Third brother, quickly look at that Wang Wu. Do you want to try it on him? Ma Hongjun chuckled and pointed to Wang Wu, who was still sitting in front of him. With your current spiritual power, you should not be threatened by his domain, right? Hearing this, Tang San frowned slightly. He looked at the Pope-Diff Wang Wu. His vast spiritual power seemed to have encountered an obstacle. There was no way to sense the other party at all. He was right there, but it gave Tang San a feeling that he did not exist. It was as if he had merged with everything in the world. Almost instantly, the other party opened his eyes and looked at Tang San. In an instant, Tang San's body shook, and he took a few steps back. He looked at Wang Wu with a shocked expression. "Third brother, what's wrong with you?" Ma Hongjun hurriedly supported Tang San. Bai Qinxiang could not help but ask in surprise. The others were also very curious. "He sensed me." Tang San snorted softly. His expression reluctantly returned to normal. He could not help but say in a deep voice, "This Wang Wu gave me an illusion of nothingness. I could not sense him at all. I only looked at him, and he discovered me. His spiritual power seems to be very strange. It has a feeling that it is difficult to shake." Hearing this, everyone could not help but look at Wang Wu in shock. "There's almost no titled Douluo who can compare to your spiritual power now. It is really rare. Compared to me, it is not much worse." At this moment, a gentle voice sounded in everyone's ears. It was Possessy, but this Wang Wu's spiritual power is even more extraordinary. Possessy stared at the figure in the distance and said slowly, "If our spiritual power is compared to a cloud of fog, then his spiritual power is similar to a drop of water. It is more condensed and terrifying. So, your current spiritual power is very strong, but you can't sense his existence unless you reach a higher level. However, that should not be a domain that soul masters can reach." Possessy's words were easy to understand. Everyone understood as soon as they heard it. They could not help but be enlightened. However, if it was not a domain that soul masters could reach, then what was it? "How long is he going to cultivate here?" Zhu Zhuqing suddenly asked. "I don't know." Possessy shook his head. "But soon. His goal should be to wave that heavy silver pillar." This is not the content of his assessment. He should be able to use soul skills, but in the past 10 months, he has only trained his body. It is almost impossible for him to wave this heavy silver pillar. Possessy was not completely sure. In fact, it was indeed very difficult. In the 8th month, Wang Feng felt that he could lift this heavy silver pillar alone and walk on the surface of the sea while carrying it. But if he wanted to wave it, it was a little difficult. Even if Wang Feng's punch was now more than 50,000 kilograms of strength, it was still a little difficult. The closer he was to the limit, the slower his improvement. In the past 10 months, the improvement of the 3 aquatic spirit beast underlings was not fast. After stepping into the 100,000-year level, their progress slowed down. End of chapter. Chapter 771. The effect of the Golden Lotus was diminishing. Unless he reached a higher level and changed his soul power or the Golden Lotus, he would be able to unleash more power and transform them. Even so, no matter how slow the improvement was, the 3 soul beast underlings had improved a lot in the past 10 months. 10 months was nothing compared to the time the 3 aquatic soul beasts spent together. However, the changes it brought were unprecedented. From their bloodline, species, appearance, abilities, and so on, they had changed a lot. After all, it was impossible not to change under such intense training. "Roar, roar, boss. Can we end our cultivation now?" The whale shark, which was 110 meters long, communicated with Wang Feng telepathically. After 10 months of hard training, the 3 aquatic soul beast underlings were very proud and felt that they could do it again. But now that they were trapped on the sea god's island, they could not go anywhere. "We can end our cultivation for now." Wang Feng thought for a while and said, "Go to a place and help me check out the situation." Wang Feng suddenly thought of a problem. The Douluo world's ocean covered a large area, which was similar to his previous life. Could these 3 aquatic soul beasts swim directly from here to the extreme north? With the strength of the 3 aquatic soul beast underlings, as long as they did not meet the deep-sea demon whale king, there were not many creatures in the ocean that could be their opponent. If they could not, they could run. After becoming a 100,000-year sea demon, the Gorfine dragon also had the ability to fly. The blackwater crocodile also had the ability to fly, but its main element was water. The whale shark was huge and swam very fast in the ocean. even 100,000-year soul beasts younger than it could not catch up with it. So Wang Feng had this idea. He wanted to let the 3 aquatic soul beast underlings go to the extreme north to check on Odonisuchus and the others. If they had the ability, it would be best if they could make a trip to the Great Stardow Forest. Because Wang Feng remembered that in the 9th test of the BB Dawn, he had to kill 200,000-year soul beasts. She passed the 8th test. She also knew about Deming and Erming. If she targeted Deming and Erming in advance, wouldn't she be done for? Thinking of this, Wang Feng broke out in cold sweat. Now that they had not passed the test, they could not leave the Sea God's Island for long. He discussed with the 3 aquatic soul beasts. The 3 soul beasts expressed their willingness to do so. The main reason was that he had held it in for so long that he couldn't help but want to go out and cause trouble. After the discussion, Wang Feng continued to cultivate quietly. In these 10 months, his soul power rank had barely reached 78. It could be said that his progress was extremely slow. However, the potential of this body was slowly being developed by Wang Feng. After Tang San and the others left, Wang Feng discussed with Possessi again to see if she would let the 3 aquatic spirit beasts go. Possessi was still unwilling to do so. Even if Wang Feng managed to tame these 3 aquatic spirit beasts, how could he be sure that they would not kill the gentle aquatic spirit beasts once they left the ocean? Promise not to do evil again? How about this? They can help Tang San and the others defeat the demon killer whales. I'll let them leave the Sea God's Island. Possessi thought for a long time before he said slowly. Hearing this, Wang Feng frowned and said, "That's their 4th test?" Possessi nodded. "Aren't you cheating by doing so?" Wang Feng said lightly. "With the 3 of them, what's the difficulty of the test? Besides, isn't that great white demon soul shark guarding outside the island also helping them? This shouldn't be too difficult for them." For what Possessi said, Tang San's 4th test should be to kill the demon killer whales. It should be teaming up with the great white demon shark. However, there shouldn't be much difficulty. Even if they were to fight head-on with the strength of the 9 of them, they would be able to defeat it directly. How difficult would it be? Would they still need his 3 underlings? 3 100,000-year soul beasts. Wouldn't the demon killer whales be finished? What's the point of fighting then? Wang Feng knew about the demon killer whales from Whale Shark and the others. In these 3 months, other than cultivating, the 3 aquatic spirit beasts would also tell Wang Feng about the situation of the soul beasts in the ocean. For example, some powerful aquatic spirit beasts, or some special aquatic spirit beasts. This demon killer whale was one of the extremely powerful aquatic spirit beasts. It wasn't inferior to the great white demon shark at all, and was even stronger. The word demon in its name was enough to show that this aquatic spirit beast was extremely evil and ferocious. It was also a whale-type aquatic spirit beast. Whale Shark had half of the whale-type soul beast bloodline, so it naturally knew this aquatic spirit beast very well. How to put it, this demon killer whale was slightly inferior to Whale Shark, but it was still a first-class existence in the ocean. It was slightly stronger than the blackwater crocodile. However, after being modified by the golden lotus, the blackwater crocodile was much stronger than the demon killer whale. Therefore, Wang Feng said that with 3 underlings, what was the point of Tang San's test? He was here to increase the difficulty of the test and squeeze out their potential. He wasn't here to help them pass the test easily. What was the point? No. Possessi shook his head and said, "Of course we won't cheat. It's because the demon killer whale king took in the other 3 powerful 100,000-year soul beasts 2 years ago. As support, its strength has become stronger these 2 years." Hearing this, Wang Feng was stunned. Took them in? 100,000-year soul beasts will be taken in? 100,000-year soul beasts were all very strong. Normally, they wouldn't join other soul beast camps. They all had their own territories. You came from the land. Do you know that 2 years ago, in a sea area, there was an intense light pillar that erupted? Possessi's eyes were a little dignified as he looked into the distance. Wang Feng nodded. That was what he did. It was close to 2 years now. As far as I know, that light pillar should be released by a peerless expert. Possessi's expression was extremely dignified. Obviously, Possessi, who was on the sea god's island, also sensed the situation at that time. Wang Feng nodded and said, "It's indeed a peerless expert." "You've seen it?" Possessi was a little surprised. "I was fortunate enough to see it," Wang Feng said calmly. At that time, this peerless expert was fighting with a deep-sea demon whale. The battle was very intense. In the end, he forced the deep-sea demon whale to retreat and left. It could be said that his charm was unparalleled. Possessi. But what does this have to do with their test? Wang Feng shook his head. Possessi said, "It originally didn't. But after that peerless expert fought with a deep-sea demon whale, the latter became angry all year round and often disturbed the surrounding sea area. It accidentally destroyed several extremely ferocious demonic sea beasts. This was originally a good thing." Possessi sighed at this point. End of chapter. Chapter 772. The sea is not calm. In fact, there are many more ferocious and evil demonic sea beast communities. They are very far away from our sea god's island, so we can't take care of them. After those demonic sea beast communities were accidentally destroyed by the deep-sea demon whale in its rage, it was considered a good thing. But unfortunately, the strongest demonic sea beast communities were not destroyed by the deep-sea demon whale, because those demonic sea beasts of 100,000 years were too strong. After their communities were destroyed, these demonic sea beasts were very afraid of the deep-sea demon whale. In order to save their lives, they chose to rely on the evil demon killer whale. Because the evil demon killer whale's community is relatively large and very troublesome, even the deep-sea demon whale doesn't want to be their enemy. Hearing this, Wang Feng was silent. Because of this, the evil demon killer whale's community is very strong now. Other than our sea god's island, they are not afraid of anyone. Even the demon soul great white shark is no match for them. Even a few months ago, there were frequent conflicts and there were some deaths and injuries. Possessi shook his head and said, "The content of Tang San's assessment is very troublesome and almost impossible to complete, because the sea god's assessment was only to let them assist the demon soul great white shark to defeat the evil demon killer whale. But now there are 3 more 100,000-year-old beasts. It is very difficult. One of them is called the Sky Silver Sea Mother, a kind of sea spirit beast with extremely strong spiritual power. This kind of sea spirit beast is very weak, but its spiritual power is very strong, just a little weaker than mine. The other one is called the Jade Cheelan Golden-Eyed Beast, a super strong sea spirit beast with both attack and defense. Among the 100,000-year-old beasts, it is only a little weaker than the evil demon killer whale king. The last one is also a little weaker than the evil demon killer whale, called the Dragon Teeth Sword Shark, but its attack power can't even be resisted by the evil demon killer whale. In short, there are 3 very strong 100,000-year-old beasts." Possessi's words made Wang Feng even more speechless. He finally understood the many consequences of the battle with the deep-sea demon whale. Actually, this battle was nothing. But the key point was that Wang Feng shamelessly ran away. That deep-sea demon whale king, in anger, killed many sea spirit beasts. Although most of them were ferocious aquatic soul beasts, the 100,000-year-old beasts ran away. Coincidentally, the evil demon killer whales were in the same camp. Even if they were not willing to submit to each other, now that their tribe was gone, they naturally joined forces. That was because there were almost no species in the sea that could resist the deep-sea demon whales. This group of evil demon killer whales still had some ability to protect themselves, and they were even more powerful when they joined forces. Wang Feng didn't expect that it would lead to such a series of consequences. If that's the case, fine. Wang Feng nodded. What Bai Saishi meant was that he wanted his 3 underlings to stop the 3 sea spirit beasts. Otherwise, for Tang San and the others, it was impossible for them to pass this test. There were 3 more sea spirit beasts out of nowhere. How were they going to fight them? Even if Tang San and the others were extremely powerful, the 2 evil demon killer whale kings might still be able to defeat them. However, It was clear that the combined strength of these three new soul beasts was far beyond his imagination. The combination of 100,000-year soul beasts was not as simple as 1 plus 1. If the heavenly Silver Sea Mother was really as strong as Possessi said, many of Tang San's abilities would be restricted. Not to mention other things, it was very difficult to use hidden weapons to launch a sneak attack, because it was too easy to be noticed. That was why Possessi wanted Wang Feng to call the three underlings to balance the strength. At the same time, it was equivalent to a proof of allegiance. At least it could prove that these three underlings would not do evil after they went out. After all, without him as the master, Possessi would not agree to let them go just like that. They will go and rest for 2 months, Possessi whispered. After 2 months, I will open a small hole in the seal of the Sea God's Island and let these 3 sea spirit beasts out. The evil demon killer whale clan is very powerful. If these 3 sea spirit beasts can kill the other 2, then they will still be friends of the Sea God's Island. I will report to the Sea God and give them the title of Divine Beast Protector of the island. As for the evil demon killer whales, let the demon soul Great White Shark and Tang San deal with them. If there are no accidents, don't worry about these 3 sea spirit beasts. If they fail the test, it will be their own fault. Wang Feng nodded slightly. Actually, this matter, speaking of it, should be caused by him, but after thinking about it, Wang Feng faintly felt that something was not right after Possessi left. I don't think anything will happen. 400,000-year soul beasts, Wang Feng thought, but with the strength of my 3 underlings, it is not difficult to kill the 300,000-year soul beasts that are slightly weaker than the evil demon killer whale king. The remaining evil demon killer whale king is not a match for Tang San and the rest. Wang Feng did not want to add any pressure to Tang San and the rest in this test, because he cannot control it. Whether it was the Sea God's light or the tidal body refinement here, Wang Feng could control them. But this kind of battle in the sea involving 100,000-year soul beasts was not something Wang Feng could control. If he was not careful, he could lose his life. Moreover, Wang Feng needed to complete his cultivation as soon as possible. The difficulty of using the heavy silver pillar to cultivate was somewhat beyond Wang Feng's imagination. He estimated that it would take at least 2 months before he could really raise this heavy silver pillar and wield it. The increase in difficulty and time required for cultivation was actually not beyond Wang Feng's imagination. Any estimation before cultivation was calculated according to the most ideal state, but the reality was often very different. The 3 of you, now I want to test your strength. Wang Feng coughed twice and let the 3 soul beasts out of the sea as he said to them, "Boss, please say it." The Blackwater crocodile looked at Wang Feng with burning eyes. There was only worship and excitement in its eyes. Finally, it's coming. Is it going to test the results of our cultivation for the past 10 months? Roar, roar. Will that woman let us out if we pass boss's test? The whale shark was also a little excited. As a powerful soul beast that had lived for many years, it rarely had this kind of excitement. It cannot be helped. It had finally become a 100,000-year soul beast and had become so much stronger. It definitely wanted to go out and have a fierce fight to show its strength. The blood dragon. Second brother dragon, don't you have anything to say? The Blackwater crocodile laughed a few times. After so many years, I can finally leave this place. I think it's quite comfortable here, the blood dragon said. Wang Feng glared at the Gorfine dragon. From this point of view, the Gorfine dragon was quite obedient. End of this chapter. Chapter 773. It was quite comfortable to stay here as they could steadily improve their strength. Furthermore, they were with their master, so there was basically no danger. Wang Feng briefly explained the situation to the 3 aquatic spirit beasts. Sky Silver Sea Mother, Jade, Cheelan Golden Crystal Beast, Dragon-Tooth Sword Shark. These 3 trash, it's too easy to kill them. The Blackwater crocodile let out a confident smile. If it was before, we might not be their match at all. But now, I can defeat them without wings. And our sister shark is at the top of the soul beast chain among the shark-type soul beasts. Even if Sister Shark is 90,000 years old, she can defeat it 100,000 years old sister shark. Killing it is like killing a small fish. If it was before, it would be impossible for me and second brother Jiao to kill the sky silver sea mother and the jade Qilin golden crystal beast. It's 50-50, but it's different now. The sky silver sea mother will be given to second brother Jiao, and the jade Qilin golden crystal beast will be given to me. Second brother Jiao's blood coral dragon horn is very powerful. It can sense many spiritual power attacks, and it has a great restriction on any powerful spiritual power. The three aquatic spirit beasts discussed for a while and decided. In the remaining 2 months, Wang Feng did not train the three little guys. Instead, he trained Hulaina and the other two. Tang San and the others once again withstood Lord Popetiff's attack, which made them a little unconvinced, so they took the initiative to ask Wang Feng to put more pressure on them, because they were undergoing the tidal refinement technique now. Needless to say, after being stimulated by Tang San and the others, the three of them also endured and made great progress, especially Hulaina, who was about to break through to the 80th rank. About 2 months later, Hulaina and the others went for the 4th test. Their 4th test seemed to require them to defeat 2 of the 7 saint pillars. They were allowed to work together, but not alone. It was impossible for them to defeat any of the 7 saint pillars alone. Each of the 7 saint pillars was cultivating under the saint pillar. If they wanted to defeat them, they would have to be 3 ranks higher than them. At this time, Tang San and the others had finished their rest and walked out of the Sea God's Island. The 9 of them came to the shore of the Sea God's Island. First, they found Little White, who was training with them in the ring-shaped sea, and told it the content of the test. After hearing that, Xiaobai fell silent. Actually, I also know a part of the content of your assessment, Little White sighed and said, it's just that I'm afraid that it'll be very difficult for you to complete the test this time. With your strength and me, there's actually a very high chance that you'll be able to defeat the group of evil demon killer whales. The strength of the strongest evil demon killer whale king is only slightly higher than mine. Relatively speaking, their clansmen are also stronger than us, but they don't have as many people as we do. But recently, 300,000-year soul beasts have joined the evil demon killer whale king and joined forces with them. Hearing this, the 9 people were shocked. Then Little White told them what had happened. After hearing this, the 9 people fell silent. 400,000-year soul beasts. How are we supposed to play with that? Ma Hongjun was flabbergasted. There's also a clan of evil demon tiger sharks. That's right. How are we supposed to play this game? Even with their confidence, they knew that they had no chance of winning. Even if there were only 2 of them, they were still confident. There's always a cause and effect. Tang San sighed. Back then, the peerless expert in the golden pillar of light saved us. But we didn't expect to incur the wrath of the deep-sea demon whales, which led to the current situation. No matter what, we have to try. Tang San's words gave everyone a certain amount of confidence. We can even survive the devastation of that Wang Wu. This might not be impossible. Everyone nodded. After that, Tang San took out the Dragon Abyss boat. It was a special boat-type soul tool. As long as soul power was injected, it could turn into a small boat that could accommodate more than 10 people. If Wang Feng was here, he would definitely exclaim that this thing was simply advanced technology. It was really advanced technology. The development of the Douluo world was relatively backward, but that wasn't all. For example, the service industry, such as hotels and brothels, seemed to be developing very well. All kinds of professions related to soul masters were developing very well. However, this soul tool was still a mystery. It was still fine if it could store things. But this kind of soul tool could become bigger, and Little White saw that they were so confident he also wanted to give it a try. After all, the evil demon killer whales were too much of a threat to the demon soul great white sharks. If they were out of the range of the Sea God's Island, these evil demon killer whales would be even more unbridled. After that, Tang San took the Dragon Abyss boat, followed Little White and Little White's clansmen, and quickly rushed towards the evil demon killer whales. At this time, under the sea of the Sea God's Island, the 3 whale shark sea spirit beasts also quickly left the Sea God's Island. The speed of the three whale shark sea spirit beasts was obviously not comparable to the demon soul great white shark that carried Tang San and the other 9 people. Especially the whale shark, with her huge body of hundreds of meters, only a huge and terrifying black shadow could be seen flashing across the sea from high up in the sky. The evil demon killer whales were still a long distance away from the sea god's island. It would take at least a few days to travel. At the same time, when the 3 whale shark sea spirit beasts left the sea god's island, Wang Feng was still training in the furious wave's desperate situation. With the white cloud boundary flag, he could contact the 3 sea spirit beasts at any time. It was not too far away, at least within the range of the sea. There was no problem. There was no other way. Wang Feng had to know the situation like the back of his hand. On the road, Little White was explaining the situation of the 4 sea spirit beasts to the 9 people. The more they listened, the more frightened they were. Tang San suddenly asked, "Little White, do the 4 sea spirit beasts have the ability to be immune to poison?" "Poison?" Little White was stunned, then said, "That one doesn't, but ordinary poisons don't have much effect on the 100,000-year-old beasts. No matter how strong the poison is, it can't directly kill the 100,000-year-old beasts. If it's more practical, our bodies will have a certain level of immunity, especially in the sea. You want to rely on poison to kill the 4 sea spirit beasts?" Little White asked in surprise. "For it's too many. I want to use a sneak attack to kill the evil demon killer whale, King alone." Tang San pondered. That shouldn't be possible. The Heaven Silver Sea Mother is a soul beast with extremely strong spiritual power. No living creature or attack can escape from her senses. Little White shook her head and said, "Once alarmed, we won't even have a chance to escape under the siege of the 400,000-year-old beasts." "Not necessarily." Tang San turned his palm and smiled. "This thing is called the Vast Sea Universal Cover. It can conceal our aura. Although the range is not big, I think even the Heaven Silver Sea Mother can't discover it. But my sneak attack will be discovered by her. If only this Heaven Silver Sea Mother can be lured away. Little White, see if you can help us lure this Heaven Silver Sea Mother away. We can give it a try first." Tang San, the others, and Little White discussed a countermeasure. Tang San rode on Little White and left first. Because the range of the Vast Sea Universal Cover was not big, it could only cover the 2 of them. The rest of the people slowly followed to avoid being discovered. Not long after, Tang San and Little White were the first to approach the evil demon killer whales. And just as they arrived, they had yet to step into the other party's territory. In the group of evil demon killer whales, monstrous waves were set off, as if there were some terrifying giant beasts fighting. P.S. My gums hurt so much today. I finished typing in this state of unbearable pain. Let's take a break today. Please count votes. Chapter 774. About 20 miles away from the evil demon killer whales, the light blue seawater flowed on the light shield formed by the vast sea universe shroud, and circles of ripples were formed. Whitey's huge body was also shrouded in layers of fog, which blocked the senses of many sea spirit beasts in the sea. They had not entered the territory of the evil demon killer whales yet, but with Tang San's spiritual power, he could roughly sense the situation in the territory through the flowing seawater. The depth of the seawater was not very high, about 400 to 500 meters. After going through the tidal refinement, his purple demon eyes had reached the vast realm. Tang San realized that his spiritual power was able to penetrate the vast sea universe shroud with his skull, and through the flow of the seawater, he could sense places extremely far away. Regarding this point, Tang San roughly understood something. It was very likely that his affinity with the 9 tests of the sea god was related to the inheritance of the sea god. The vast sea universe shroud was indeed extraordinary. Tang San had asked Possessi before what this vast sea universe shroud was. Possessi only had one answer, and that was that this was a divine artifact that only the heir of the sea god could possess. One could imagine how powerful this vast sea universe shroud was. There seems to be some movement in front. Tang San looked into the distance with a heavy expression. It seems to be a battle? To be able to cause such a huge battle at the bottom of the sea, it must not be an ordinary sea spirit beast. Whitey, I will share my spiritual power with you, and you can sense what kind of sea spirit beast is fighting. If one were to talk about understanding sea spirit beasts, Whitey, who had lived in the sea for many years, would definitely know more. Spiritual power sharing? Whitey was stunned. You can share your spiritual power with me? Spiritual power sharing was extremely demanding on one's spiritual power. The most basic requirement was that Tang San's spiritual power was far superior to hers. Wait, won't you be discovered if you use your spiritual power to detect? The evil demon killer whale king's spiritual power is much stronger than mine. Even if we use our spiritual power to detect them from outside the territory, we will be discovered. Tang San thought for a while, then slowly transmitted his spiritual power into Whitey's mind and communicated with it. Little White was shocked when he heard that Tang San had used his spiritual power to probe the seawater without being detected. The seawater could be a cover for my spiritual power. No one could sense the flow of the seawater. I felt that my mental power was very smooth in the sea. There were no obstructions, and those evil demon killer whale kings were unable to detect me. Unless there's someone among them whose spiritual power is similar to mine. Tang San continued. Whitey was silent for a moment. Through the spirit sharing that Tang San had given her, she could sense the aura of the battle within the group of devil killer whales. He also saw the terrifying battle scene. Those 300,000-year-old beasts are angry. Little White immediately deduced. The one who did this is a jade, Chilan golden crystal beast. This kind of aquatic spirit beast is somewhat similar to the lion leopard on land, but its entire body is covered with jade green scales, and its eyes are golden crystal. It has the power to control the water in the sea. However, the evil demon killer whale didn't move. You have to be careful of the heavenly silver sea mother. This soul beast is in the center of the group of evil demon killer whales. Its spiritual power is very terrifying. There's a special layer of heavenly silver gold on its body. It might be able to sense the direction of the enemy through the flow of the seawater. Little White's words made Tang San's heart tremble. This sea was really deep and unpredictable. It even had this kind of aquatic spirit beast. Let's get closer slowly. Let's test my sneak attack with hidden weapons. If we enter its territory, I have to reduce the range of my spiritual power. Otherwise, this heavenly silver sea mother might sense us. Tang San patted Little White's dorsal fin and said softly, "Once the situation is not right, retreat immediately and gather with your clansmen. We'll discuss other methods." Okay. Little White brought Tang San and stepped into the territory of the evil demon killer whales. In the instant that he stepped into the vast sea cosmic shroud, Tang San felt a special burst of psychic power sweep over him, like a scanner. It even stopped for a while. Tang San couldn't help but be shocked. Was this the spiritual power of the heavenly silver sea mother? It was equally vast and powerful. If they barged in rashly, they would probably be discovered at the first moment. The heavenly silver sea mother's spiritual power scan made Tang San a little afraid to use his spiritual power again. The other party's spiritual power also flowed in the sea. The only thing that was worse than his was probably its range. But the closer they got, the more dangerous it would be. Tang San didn't use his spiritual power to sense for the time being. It seems like my line of sight has been blocked too. Tang San's purple demon eyes flashed with blue-gold light. The violent sound of the waves continued to come from the front, but after entering the territory of the evil demon killer whales, the front seemed to be covered by a layer of white light. It was very difficult to see what was happening. One had to know that after cultivating the purple demon eyes to the vast realm, Tang San could see clearly in the sea, even if it was thousands of meters away. Without using his spiritual power to sense, he could see very far just by using his eyesight. It should be the heavenly silver sea mother's heavenly silver domain. It can create a special space to prevent the enemy from spying on it and sensing it with spiritual power. It's not a very strong domain. Xiaobai said, "The heavenly silver sea mother is not strong. Once it gets close to it, Basically, 80 to 90,000 years old beasts will injure or cripple it. So we'll be very careful to hide to prevent the enemy from sensing or seeing it. Tang Sen nodded. This kind of sea spirit beast was very special, but it was normal. After all, it was not strong. If it didn't have the ability to protect itself, it would not be able to survive in the sea. Soon, Tang San and Xiao Bai slowly approached the territory of the evil demon killer whales. The effect of the heavenly silver domain was actually very small to Tang San. Because of the purple demon eyes, Tang San gradually saw it very clearly. Roar. When they got closer, they could hear a series of fierce roars. It's the sound of the 10,000 demon whale shark. Tang San and Xiao Bai immediately heard it, especially Tang San. He could even see the scene in front. In front, large groups of evil demon killer whales, like soldiers in a formation, were distributed in the sea. These evil demon killer whales, compared to the demon soul great white shark, were indeed one size bigger, with an average length of about 30 meters. Their bodies were pitch black, and their eyes were dark red, emitting a bloodthirsty light. At this moment, they were roaring angrily at the front, and they could clearly see the sharp blade-like teeth in their mouths. At the same time, Tang Sen also saw the appearance of the heavenly silver sea mother. This sea spirit beast was in the middle of the evil demon killer whales, and it was protected tightly. It was almost impossible to kill it. It was about 40 meters tall, and its entire body was emitting a bright silver light. It looked a little transparent because there was a rainbow-like liquid flowing in its body. Only 2 silver eyes could be seen on its cap-like head, which should be its eyes. There was no body below its head, and it was densely packed with silver tentacles. These tentacles would gently float with the flow of the sea, emitting a faint light. End of chapter. Chapter 775. This heavenly silver sea mother's spiritual power seems to be released by its tentacles. It's really magical. Tang San was shocked as he looked at those tentacles. Our luck might be good. At this moment, Little White let out a crisp laugh. It should be that 10,000 demon whale shark and the evil demon killer whales fighting. But this 10,000 demon whale shark is actually a 100,000-year one. Tang San was stunned and couldn't help but say, Little White, this 10,000 demon whale shark should be the one in the Sea God Mountain. Half a year ago, this 10,000 demon whale shark became a 100,000-year soul beast. Little White was shocked when she heard that. How is this possible? It's very difficult for a 10,000 demon whale shark to become a 100,000-year soul beast. They're extremely powerful and cultivate slowly. That 10,000 demon whale shark is only 90,000 years old. Could it be that you're mistaken? Little White was stunned for a long time, looking at the 10,000 demon whale shark that was provoking the group of evil demon killer whales. She felt that it was indeed familiar. But in fact, the current improvement of the whale shark was too different from before, especially when Little White saw it in the ring-shaped sea. Little White only thought that it was the other 10,000 demon whale shark in the sea. That's right, Tang San laughed bitterly. This 10,000 demon whale shark has been cultivating in the Sea God Mountain's New Lang desperation. When we went there, he was already a 100,000-year soul beast. For the past 10 months, we have been cultivating in the New Lang desperation. How can I be wrong? It's not just this 10,000 demon whale shark. You should have 2 friends, the wind-winged blackwater crocodile and the blood coral sea flood dragon. They both became 100,000-year soul beasts 10 months ago. Tang San's words made Little White swallow a few mouthfuls of water. You're really not lying to me? Little White felt that it was unbelievable. A 100,000-year soul beast. If she hadn't become the sea god's mount, she might not have been able to become a 100,000-year soul beast. Since when are 100,000-year soul beasts so common? Little White was a little confused. A 10,000-year soul beast wanted to step into the 100,000-year soul beast level. Just like how a soul Douluo became a title Douluo. There were many soul Douluo in the Douluo world, but there were only a few title Douluo. It usually took years and years. But how long had it been? How did you do it? Little Bai couldn't help but ask. Its heart was also a little restless. I'm the only 100,000-year soul beast in my clan. There are a few 80 to 90,000-year soul beasts. I don't know. Tang San shook his head. I don't know much about soul beasts. Generally speaking, if you consume certain heavenly materials and earthly treasures, you should be able to cross that threshold, but I didn't sense the aura of them consuming heavenly materials and earthly treasures. I think this should be related to Wang Wu. It's very possible, because they have been training in the furious waves, desperate situation before. I don't know the details. After listening to Tang San's words, Whitey swallowed another mouthful of water. He couldn't help but think of the person who had climbed the 1,001st step in the ring-shaped sea that day. It wasn't easy to train a 100,000-year soul beast just by training. He can create a 100,000-year soul beast? This thought appeared in Little White's mind. If that was the case, it would be too terrifying. At this moment, with the provocation of the 10,000 demon whale shark, the group of evil demon killer whales began to ride again. Countless evil demon killer whales let out angry roars. Their eyes, which were already bloodthirsty, quickly became bloodshot. Little Bai, what is that 10,000 demon whale shark saying? Why are these evil demon killer whales so violent? Tang San watched from the side and was not in a hurry to attack. Although he didn't know why this 10,000 demon whale shark was here, it was obviously to their advantage. If they could take advantage of this situation, they should be able to complete the 5th test. Little Bai, it's probably saying that the evil demon killer whales are a group of a bunch of bastards. Little Bai thought for a while and said embarrassedly, Tang San, do you see the dragon-tooth sword shark in front? This 100,000-year soul beast is very strong. If we were to be hit by its attack, we die immediately. Purely in terms of attack power, the dragon-tooth sword shark can be ranked in the top 3 among us sea spirit beasts. Little Bai thought for a while, but this kind of sword shark is also very irritable. It will definitely not be able to hold back. Tang San's eyes looked through the hazy fog in front and saw the dragon-tooth sword shark. Its body was like a sword. It was only about 30 meters long, which was not long compared to the evil demon killer whales, but it had many dorsal fins, and each dorsal fin was emitting a cold light like a sword blade, causing people to shudder. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot, and he could no longer hold it in. Even if the 10,000 demon whale shark is strong, if it is attacked by this dragon-tooth sword shark, it will be severely injured. About a while later, as the 10,000 demon whale shark's provocation became more and more arrogant, the evil demon killer whales finally couldn't take it anymore. No one would be able to tolerate the evil demon killer whales being provoked in their own territory, not to mention they were the overlords of the sea. Other than the deep-sea demon whale king, they were not afraid of anyone. In front, in Tang San's vision, there was a dark golden evil demon killer whale. This evil demon killer whale was at least one size bigger than the others, and its aura was the strongest. Obviously, it was the evil demon killer whale king. Beside the evil demon killer whale king, there was a sea soul beast that was entirely green and looked like a lion. Its eyes were golden, and its body was not inferior to the evil demon killer whale king. There was a pair of green horns on its head, which were emitting a faint light at this time. As the light flashed, waves of extremely turbulent sea waves rushed towards the 10,000 demon whale shark in front, as if it didn't want to fight with the 10,000 demon whale shark and only wanted to shake it off. But how big was the whale shark? It was impossible to shake it off. Soon, with the dragon-tooth sword shark as the leader, the jade Qilin golden crystal beast led dozens of evil demon killer whales to attack the whale shark. But the evil demon killer whale king was obviously very cautious and didn't send out the Sky Silver Sea Mother. The Sky Silver Sea Mother was a kind of protection in the tribe. This evil demon killer whale king is indeed cautious, as expected of a 100,000-year soul beast. Tang San frowned and said, it actually sent 200,000-year soul beasts and dozens of evil demon killer whales to deal with the 10,000 demon whale shark. The Sky Silver Sea Mother is still in the tribe, so we can't sneak attack at all. It's useless even if there are 2. Xiaobai shook its head and said, the 10,000 demon whale shark is very strong. If there's only one dragon-tooth sword shark, it will be smashed. 2 is just right. But it's a pity that the evil demon killer whale king doesn't know that this 10,000 demon whale shark has 2 partners. If it knew, I'm afraid it wouldn't only send the jade, Chilean golden crystal beast and the dragon-tooth sword shark. In the distance, seeing the 200,000-year-soul beast leading a group of evil demon killer whales to attack, the 10,000 demon whale shark slipped away. Seeing this, the 200,000-year-soul beasts were furious and chased after it. It provoked them so fiercely just now, and now it's running away? No soul beast could tolerate it. End of chapter. Chapter 776. That's enough. Tang San thought for a while. Even if there are 200,000-year-soul beasts, we might be able to deal with them. The only thing we have to be careful of is the Sky Silver Sea Mother. Let's try a sneak attack first. Little Bai, let's go. Tang Sin took out his hidden weapons as he took out the 2 types of spring water that he had obtained from the ice fire, Yin Yang well. These 2 types of spring water contained extreme Yin and Yang frost poison and fire poison. Even a titled Douluo might not be able to resist them. Back in the ice fire Yin Yang well, even Douluo had not dared to sink into it. One could only imagine how terrifying these 2 types of spring water were. Tang San carefully soaked the arrow on the Zhuge divine crossbow, which was made from high-quality iron essence, in these 2 types of spring water. Under the protection of the vast sea cosmic shield, Tang San couldn't use soul skills. Once he used them, this concealment function would lose its effectiveness. Hidden weapons were his unique trump card, and they were very suitable for sneak attacks under the effects of the vast sea cosmic shroud. After reattaching it, Tang San aimed the Zhuge divine crossbow at a relatively weaker evil killer whale in front of him. Although the Zhuge divine crossbow's range would be greatly reduced in the sea, Tang San had learned how to control it with his spiritual power from the white-clothed Pope Tiff. He might not be able to control objects so accurately over a long distance, but he could still control objects over a certain distance and even increase the range of the arrow. Now that his spiritual power had become so strong, his control was quite good. Tang San attached his spiritual power to the arrow, and the Zhuge divine crossbow was fired. The tiny arrow was wrapped by his spiritual power. It turned into a thin stream in the sea as it shot towards the evil killer whale in front of him. 18 arrows were shot out in a row. However, just as they were about to hit the evil killer whale, a torrent suddenly scattered the 18 arrows. A sharp sound was transmitted from the sea to Tang San's spiritual brain. Be careful. The Sky Silver Sea Mother has discovered it. Little Bai exclaimed. Tang San was also shocked. He thought to himself that he had underestimated the strength of this 100,000-year soul beast. The evil killer whale king didn't let the Sky Silver Sea Mother leave. It was indeed a wise decision. However, the 18 crossbow bolts that were swept away by the torrent suddenly turned a few corners and pierced into the body of the evil demon killer whale. Luckily, the method of spiritual manipulation that I learned from Wang Wu allowed me to succeed. Tang San felt lucky. The heavenly silver sea mother was indeed strong. With the speed of the crossbow, it could instantly detect a sneak attack in the sea and disperse the crossbow with the current. The other party's mental strength had already reached a certain level. Coupled with the fact that he was constantly vigilant, he was able to achieve this. After being discovered, these 100,000-year soul beasts are indeed strong. However, it'll be troublesome if we want to ambush them. Tang San held his breath and stopped moving. The vast sea heaven and earth barrier rippled as it was scanned by the heavenly silver sea mother's spiritual power. In fact, the reason why he and Little White had come here alone was very simple, and that was to launch a sneak attack. They would use the concealment of the vast sea cosmic shroud to launch a sneak attack on the group of demonic killer whales. This would weaken the opponent's will and cause panic within the tribe. This would reduce the opponent's strength to the greatest extent and prepare for the upcoming battle. However, with the presence of the heavenly silver sea mother, this meant that it would be difficult to carry out the plan. Soon, The evil demon killer whale was corroded and disintegrated by the two types of spring water on the crossbow bolts. Large amounts of blood flowed out in the sea. The evil demon killer whales immediately went berserk. The heavenly silver sea mother even let out a low and sharp cry. There were at least 100 tentacles under its head that began to emit intense light. The heavenly silver domain expanded again. The white light mist almost enveloped most of the evil demon killer whales. Even Tang San's purple demon eyes found it difficult to penetrate the light mist. Your sneak attack was effective, and your plan was also very good. However, the heavenly silver sea mother is the best at suppressing sneak attacks. If you want to use the same method now, it'll be difficult. Little White was also helpless. Tang San remained silent and tried a few more times. However, he realized that as long as the crossbow bolts entered the heavenly silver domain's light barrier, even his spiritual power would lose connection. He couldn't use his spiritual power to control the crossbow bolts at all. This way, he couldn't harass the other party at all. Furthermore, the evil demon killer whales were even more vigilant. Let's go back first and meet up with the others. Tang San said decisively. Let's discuss other methods. Actually, we can wait for them to come. At this moment, Little White suddenly said, I have a feeling that the 10,000 demon whale shark will come back. The dragon teeth sword shark and the jade Cheelan golden crystal beast should be taken care of very soon. When they attack again, we can take advantage of the chaos to launch an attack. We can use the opportunity to kill those evil demon killer whales. Hearing this, Tang San's eyes lit up. Little White was an aquatic spirit beast, so she understood these aquatic spirit beasts the best. For her to be able to say these words, it was obvious that she had a very clear understanding of the combat strength of both sides. All right, Little White brought Tang San and retreated slightly further away to avoid the heavenly silver sea mother's continuous spiritual power detection. They quickly met up with their friends. Then, they explained the situation to the others. Other than by Chenxiang, the 8 of them all had a test mission. They needed to kill a certain number of evil demon killer whales. Bai Chenxiang only had 3 tests. If that's the case, then our luck is pretty good. Oscar was a little surprised. But why would those 3 aquatic spirit beasts help us? That Wang Wu definitely wouldn't be so kind to help us, but these 3 aquatic spirit beasts were tamed by him. Ning Rongrong thought for a while. It should be Senior Possessee who asked him to do so, using 300,000-year-old aquatic spirit beasts to restrain part of the enemy's strength. Otherwise, we have almost no hope of passing the test. Ning Rongrong's words made everyone understand a little, so they stopped talking about this matter. The 9 of them formed a group of 2, and each of them rode on the back of a great white demon shark. Then we just wait quietly for that 10,000 demon whale shark to come back and take advantage of the chaos to attack. Ma Hongjun laughed and said, Then to us, this mission doesn't seem to be very difficult. Tang San nodded slightly. The 9 of them waited quietly outside the territory of the evil demon killer whales. Because the Vasi Universe shield did not cover a large area, it could not completely cover the 9 of them. It could only be outside the territory. Otherwise, if they entered the territory, it was very likely that they would be discovered by the Sky Silver Sea Mother. As long as Tang San used his spiritual power to sense that the 10,000 demon whale shark was coming back, then they would immediately rush in. Just as Tang San was waiting quietly. Under the endless sea, in the darkness, a huge and strange eye suddenly opened. A cold and strange light flashed in the eye. Then it closed again and disappeared under the endless sea at the same time. Sea God's Island. Furious waves, desperate situation. Wang Feng stood on the surface of the sea, and his whole body burst out a shocking aura. His hands were like the arms of a god, and he hugged the very familiar heavy silver pillar in front of him. End of this chapter. Chapter 777. Wang Feng's entire body seemed to be filled with blood. Streams of air rose from his body, and his strength was pushed to the limit. The 500,000 gene heavy silver pillar danced in Wang Feng's hand. He gently rolled it, and layers of terrifying waves appeared in the sea. He smashed it again, and the sea was directly separated, forming two waterfalls that rose directly. Wang Feng waved the heavy silver pillar in his hand. It slowly rotated. The huge stone pillar landed in his hand, and it seemed to let out a dull sound that resonated through the clouds. Even if it danced gently, the raging waves' desperation stirred up a boundless storm, and it was extremely spectacular. It's really tiring to swing this thing. After swinging it for a while, Wang Feng's body was steaming hot, and a smile flashed across his face. However, I can finally swing this heavy silver pillar a little. If I want to play with it, I still need to practice for a while. However, Wang Feng also felt that his body's potential had been developed to a limit. Simply put, the body's potential that had been illuminated by the chaotic divine light had been completely developed by Wang Feng over the past year. The limit meant that Wang Feng felt that his body's strength was improving very slowly, and it had almost stopped, unless the chaotic green lotus sent a few more streaks of chaotic divine light to cleanse Wang Feng's current body and increase his potential. However, Wang Feng had no idea where the chaotic divine light came from. However, Wang Feng was satisfied with his current results. His physical strength had reached the limit, and his spiritual power had reached the limit. Now, only his soul power still had room for improvement. After putting down the heavy silver pillar, Wang Feng sat on it and frowned slightly. Ever since the whale, shark, mystic water crocodile, and the blood flood dragon left Sea God's Island, Wang Feng felt that something was wrong. This feeling came from the premonition that he had after cultivating the anterior secret word. Back in the Great Star Doe Forest, when they were hunting Xiao Wu, both sides had retreated. Wang Feng wanted to absorb the soul ring of the five-headed star dragon, but he suddenly had a similar premonition and rushed to find Tang San and the rest to prevent Tang San and the rest from being killed by the spectral Dalu that Bibi Dan had secretly sent. At that time, Tang San and the others were able to survive because of the premonition of danger brought about by the secret of the before secret. Now, he had this feeling again. Wang Feng knew that there was something wrong. It was a huge problem. Logically speaking, there shouldn't be any problems with Whale Shark and the other's strength. Even if they were to deal with the entire evil demon killer whale clan, it wouldn't be a problem. 3 against 4, they still had a high chance of winning. Right now, we're only holding back 300,000 year soul beasts. It should be much easier. Wang Feng closed his eyes and pondered. Why do I have such a premonition of danger? Let's hear out what Possessy said. No matter how Wang Feng thought about it, Whale Shark and the other two wouldn't be in any danger. Even if they were, they could just run away. Tang San and the others were definitely not that stupid. If they encountered danger, they would definitely run away directly. Unless he was in a situation where he couldn't even escape. But in the ocean, who could make them unable to even escape? Thinking of this, Wang Feng suddenly recalled what Possessy had said. He seemed to understand something and broke out in cold sweat. Wang Feng enunciated each and every word clearly. Deep, the sea, devil, whale. Tang San and the others did not have to wait for long. Sure enough, as Little White expected, that whale shark came back. Even outside the evil demon killer whale clan, the 9 of them could smell a strong smell of blood. Immediately, the evil demon killer whale king inside let out a furious roar. Because he saw many corpses, they were the corpses of the evil demon killer whales. The dozens of evil demon killer whales that were sent to kill that 10,000 demon whale shark were all dead. At the same time, the 2 dragon teeth sword sharks and the jade Cheel and golden crystal beast were seriously injured. On the other hand, the huge whale shark only had a few more injuries on its body. It wasn't that serious. The corpses of its companions had a strong smell of blood, which quickly stimulated the evil demon killer whale. At this time, the evil demon killer whale king knew that if it couldn't handle this matter well, its status in the clan would be greatly reduced. But the Blackwater crocodile and the Shui Jiao came together with the 10,000 demon whale shark. But the 3 sea spirit beasts more or less had some injuries on their bodies, but they weren't serious. After all, Other than the dragon-teeth sword shark and the jade seal and golden crystal beast, there were dozens of evil demon killer whales following them. The myriad fiend whale shark had purposely lured them in, and the bloodworm and blackwater crocodile had been lying in ambush. That was why the three of them had been able to easily exterminate several dozen evil demon tiger sharks and 200,000-year soul beasts. But even so, the dragon-teeth sword shark and the jade seal and golden crystal beast were not that easy to kill. The dragon-teeth whale shark was suppressed by the whale shark and was directly beaten to death. But the jade seal and golden crystal beast was more resilient. After it was severely injured, it abandoned the dragon-teeth sword shark and escaped first. So, almost as soon as the whale shark came back to provoke them, a battle broke out. There were at least 300 evil demon killer whales. Although they lost dozens of them, their fighting strength was still there. The battle between the evil demon killer whale king and the heaven silver sea mother was equally intense. Although the jade seal and golden crystal beast was severely injured, the heaven silver sea mother had strong spiritual power and a certain healing ability. Countless tentacles below the heaven silver sea mother's head pierced into the jade seal and golden crystal beast body and quickly healed the injuries that the jade seal and golden crystal beast had suffered. On the other side, the whale shark and the other two still maintained their fighting strength. In addition, they were addicted to fighting and were not afraid at all. "Let's go too," Tang San immediately shouted when he saw the heaven silver sea mother healing the jade seal and golden crystal beast. At this moment, the heaven silver sea mother was not in the mood to use her spiritual power to sense her surroundings. Although the heaven silver domain was still there, it had shrunk a lot. From this, it could be seen that the heaven silver sea mother could not take care of both sides. Little Bai also knew that this was the best opportunity. Almost instantly, the 9 of them rushed out. Apart from them, hundreds of great white demon soul sharks also rushed out. The 9 of them had already sparred with Little Bai in the ring-shaped sea region for more than half a year. Naturally, they were not unfamiliar with fighting in the sea. It was just that the strength of their soul skills would decrease. Tang San immediately released 2 domains. Regardless of whether it was the Slaying God domain or the Blue-Silver domain, they strengthened his teammates and weakened the evil demon killer whales greatly. Dai Mubai and Ma Hongjun, one close combat and the other long range, cooperated very well. Furthermore, after Ma Hongjun's martial soul evolved into the 7-headed phoenix, the strength of his various soul skills increased greatly. He even developed a special domain, which he obtained after breaking through rank 70. The strength of all his fire-type soul skills increased by 50%. The 2 of them worked together to capture an evil demon killer whale, and they were able to finish it off easily. Shun Lingqi stayed with Oscar. Oscar used his 6th and 7th soul skills. He directly copied Dai Mubai's martial soul and all his soul skills, especially his 7th soul skill, the golden fly intestine. After Oscar ate the golden fly intestine, he unleashed his 6th soul skill, the mirror image intestine, which allowed him to possess 100% of the copy's abilities. End of chapter. Chapter 778. Copying Dai Mubai's abilities was because Dai Mubai's martial soul and soul skills were very simple and violent. He didn't need any adaptation, just pure strength. He could also take a beating and protect Shun Lingqi. Shun Lingqi quickly made all kinds of white beer. Her 6th soul skill was called Rainbow Vibrant Bubble Beer. After drinking this type of bubble beer, one's body would be wrapped in a special layer of rainbow bubbles that could offset the effects of various environments. For example, a hot environment, an icy environment, or an environment in the sea. It could greatly increase everyone's fighting strength in the sea. It was a very powerful soul skill. If Shun Lingqi were to participate in this year's Continental Elite Tournament, she could probably beat the 4 great elemental academies and other academies that relied on their environment to win. Other than Tang San, the rest of the 9 people were covered in a layer of rainbow bubbles and could freely attack in the sea. Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing were together. Zhu Zhuqing's seventh soul skill was Dark Moon Elf True Body. Once she used it, she would turn into a true Dark Moon Elf. In addition to her 100,000-year soul ring, her strength was second only to Tang San. Her other soul skill was a domain-type soul skill. The mutated Dark Moon Elf obtained a domain-type soul skill at rank 71 with the support of 100,000 soul rings. Dark Moon Domain. Within the domain, the enemy would be blinded and the accuracy of their attacks would be greatly reduced. At the same time, Zhu Zhuqing's speed and attack would be greatly increased. With the combination of Dark Moon Elf True Body and Dark Moon Domain, Zhu Zhuqing would definitely kill an evil demon killer whale as long as she attacked. Because the evil demon killer whales within the domain's range were blinded, these evil demon killer whales would find it difficult to attack their teammates. However, the domain's range wasn't large. It was only about 100 meters wide and could only cover a dozen evil demon killer whales. However, the strength and efficiency of a single kill were the strongest among the 9 people. Ning Rongrong's 7th soul skill was 9 Treasures True Body, but this was 9 Treasures Star Glazed Pagoda. Apart from having 1 soul power consumption, it could also increase the effect of auxiliary-type soul skills by 20%. Don't underestimate this 20%. For example, the original 80% increase would increase by 96% after 20%. It was almost 100%. Even though Ning Rongrong didn't have any offensive abilities, she was the most effective one among the hundreds of aquatic soul beasts. With Ning Rongrong's support, the Demon Soul Great White Sharks were able to wipe out the evil demon killer whales. In addition, most of the evil demon killer whales and the evil demon killer whale king had gone to deal with the whale sharks, so they were only facing less than 200 of them. Xiao Wu's physical body followed in front of Tang San, assisting Tang San in his attacks. Because Xiao Wu hadn't been revived, her strength was very mysterious. Unless the spiritual consciousness of the soul ring appeared and possessed her, Xiao Wu's physical body would have a certain fighting strength. Otherwise, Tang San could only keep Xiao Wu in his 100 treasures pouch. However, using this method to possess a body for a long time would cause damage to Xiao Wu's soul. Therefore, most of the time, Tang San would prevent Xiao Wu's soul from possessing a body to fight. In the sea, a shadow flashed past, and the evil demon killer whale that was more than 20 meters long suddenly froze. In the next moment, countless blood cracks appeared on its body, and it quickly sank into the sea. The shadowy figure dashed towards the next sea spirit beast. Zhuqing's efficiency is really too high. Ma Hongjun took a few deep breaths. He had already killed 10 evil demon killer whales. If he killed a few more, the test would be over. The situation was also one-sided, and it could be said that everything was going well. Sister Zhuqing is indeed very strong. Brother Ma catch. Shun Lingqi threw a cup of light purple-white beer over, covered her mouth, and laughed. She's not even injured. Ma Hongjun took the cup of light purple-white beer and drank it in one gulp. The soul power in his body seemed to be restless, and it quickly recovered. Eastern Purple Chi Classic Beer, the most delicious white beer. It could quickly replenish the depleted soul power. Ma Hongjun looked at the others, and more or less they were injured. The main reason was that the Heaven Silver Sea Mother used her spiritual power to lock onto them, and then shared it with the other evil demon killer whales. This made it harder for them to kill the evil demon killer whales. Fortunately, most of the Heaven Silver Sea Mother's spiritual power was used to fight the 3 sea spirit beasts at the front. They only suffered part of it. In addition, there was Tang San's 2 domains to offset it, and they were still able to kill the evil demon killer whales. Otherwise, it would not be so easy to kill them. Although Tang San was also killing enemies, he was not in a hurry to kill the Heaven Silver Sea Mother and the target of the test, the evil demon killer whale king. He was waiting, because there were too many evil demon killer whales. If he went in alone, his domain would lose its effect on his partners. The most important thing was what Xiaobai said. Don't worry, even if the evil demon killer whale king brings hundreds of evil demon killer whales, it will not be able to defeat the 3 sea spirit beasts, the Xianshui crocodile and the Xianshui jiao. On the contrary, we can deal with these evil demon killer whales at the back and make the evil demon killer whales be attacked from both sides, and the threat will be greater. Tang Sen thought for a while, and it was indeed so. If that's the case, that evil demon killer whale king will definitely escape later. Tang San's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. When it escapes, it will be time for us to attack. Xiaobai nodded. In fact, it was not out of their expectations. With the strength of whale shark, Shueshui crocodile, and Shueshui jiao, it was impossible for the evil demon killer whale king to fight 1 against 3. That jade Qilin golden crystal beast was only watching from the side and did not dare to attack head-on. If it was not for the help of the Heaven Silver Sea Mother, the evil demon killer whale king would have died once it rushed up. The more they fought, the deeper the fear in the evil demon killer whale king's heart. These 3 sea spirit beasts were too strong, especially when they were attacked from behind. The evil demon killer whale king knew that it was time to retreat. Otherwise, they would not be able to leave. That jade Qilin golden crystal beast was also 100,000-year soul beast, and it communicated with the evil demon killer whale king for a while. It planned to retreat immediately. The 2 horns on the jade Qilin golden crystal beast's head lit up again, and streaks of terrifying sea currents seemed to condense all its strength and directly push towards whale shark and the other 2, trying to push them away. They want to escape. Whale shark was experienced, and he saw through the other party's thoughts at a glance. He could not help but roar, "I will block the attack. Brother Jiao, you go and deal with that Heaven Silver Sea Mother. Sister Crocodile, you go and kill that jade Qilin golden crystal beast." After he finished speaking, Whale Shark opened his bloody mouth and looked at the sea currents that were coming towards him. He opened his mouth and sucked, and the boundless suction force sucked all the sea currents into his mouth. At the same time, Shueshui Jiao and Shueshui Crocodile immediately rushed out. After a few rounds of fighting, their bodies were covered with injuries. After all, these 400,000-year-soul beasts were not to be trifled with. But in comparison, the evil demon killer whale king was in a worse state. Shueshui Jiao's coral dragon had suddenly released a burst of intense blood-red light and instantly weakened the Heaven Silver domain of the Heaven Silver Sea Mother. The white domain immediately weakened, and the Heaven Silver Sea Mother let out a painful cry. Countless tentacles swayed wildly, as if its spiritual power was severely damaged. End of this chapter. Chapter 779. Then, the Gorfiend dragon turned into a blood-red light and directly entangled the Heaven Silver Sea Mother. It was as if it was entangling the heavy silver pillar, stirring crazily. As it stirred, the scales on its body opened and closed slightly like sharp blades, cutting off the Heaven Silver Sea Mother's countless tentacles. On the other side, the Blackwater crocodile was mostly sucked away by the current, so it didn't suffer much impact at all. It bit toward the jade Qilin golden crystal beast. In addition, it also had the ability to control water. It opened its mouth, and several light water pillars exploded on the jade Qilin golden crystal beast's head. It directly blasted it into a mess. Then, the green wings on the Blackwater crocodile's back flashed, and it appeared in front of the jade Qilin golden crystal beast as if it had teleported. It directly bit the latter's head. The Blackwater crocodile's bite force was extremely exaggerated. It directly bit half of the beast's head into pieces. When Tang San and Little White saw that the evil killer whale king had escaped, they knew that the time had come. At this moment, the battle situation was one-sided. It could be said that Tang San and Little White could chase after it without any worries. Both of them had preserved most of their strength, and Little White's speed was naturally much faster than the injured demonic killer whale king. Soon, it caught up to the evil killer whale king. Great white demon soul shark. The demonic tiger whale king looked at the incoming great white devil soul sharks, and its blood-red eyes were filled with incomparable rage. Impossible! The whale shark clan would never cooperate with you great white devil soul sharks. Back then, the sea god didn't choose the whale shark clan as his mount, and chose you guys instead. They have always been unconvinced by you guys, so how could they cooperate with you? Its eyes were filled with extreme disbelief. Obviously, it was also very clear about what happened back then. They might not necessarily cooperate with us. It's just that they simply don't like you guys. Little White said disdainfully, "Evil killer whale king, today is the day you die. Master, let's go." Tang Sen naturally didn't say any nonsense. He directly attacked with Little White. At this time, even if Tang Sen dealt with the evil killer whale king alone, it wouldn't be difficult. Plus, there was Little White, so it was naturally easier. But even so, the man and the beast were both wounded in the end, barely managing to deal with this evil, demonic tiger whale king. The reason was very simple. When this evil tiger whale king knew that it was unable to escape and would definitely die, it was completely risking its life to fight for its life. It was caught off guard. Tang San and Little White naturally couldn't risk their lives to fight him, so they still suffered some injuries, but they weren't serious. It was just that they had consumed a lot of their soul power. No matter what, he still won in the end. Looking at the battlefield behind them, most of the evil demon killer whales had been killed, and it was difficult for them to gather any more energy. However, the celestial silver sea mothers didn't die. Each of them used a special ability to escape. That silver sea mother had used a method of soul shedding, directly abandoning its physical body and leaving its mental power in the body of an ordinary sea mother, barely escaping. This was similar to Tang San's blue-silver true body. As long as there was blue-silver grass, Tang San would never die. That jade, Qilin golden crystal beast was not so lucky and was directly bitten to death by the blackwater crocodile. At this point, this battle was considered to have come to an end. After the battle, everyone was very tired and sat on the bodies of the great white demon soul sharks to rest. They finally understood how powerful these 100,000-year soul beasts were. If it was only the 9 of them and the great white demon soul sharks, it was impossible to defeat 4 100,000-year soul beasts. Furthermore, the number of evil demon killer whales was much more than the great white demon soul sharks. Originally, the number of great white demon soul sharks was more than the number of evil demon soul sharks. However, as the evil demon killer whales became stronger, more and more great white demon soul sharks were slaughtered. Therefore, the number of evil demon killer whales was at least 3 times more than the great white demon soul sharks. This battle wasn't considered easy for them. Fortunately, the great white demon soul sharks didn't suffer many losses. Furthermore, they defeated it with their own strength. The rewards for the assessment were also quite rich. Their soul power rank increased by 1 level, and there was also a reward for increasing the age of any soul ring. However, just when everyone thought that this battle was over, suddenly, everyone trembled. Many of the great white demon soul sharks who were cleaning up the mess also trembled. Whale shark, blackwater crocodile, and Shui Jiao, who were about to return to report the news of victory, were also stunned. A boundless pressure penetrated from the bottom of the sea. Following that, an intense light directly blasted out from the pitch-black bottom of the sea. Blue light, an extremely dazzling blue light pillar. At the same time, this few hundred meters of the bottom of the sea was directly separated. Boundless waves shook up high, like a tsunami, and fell down. Countless water droplets burst out from it and suddenly shot towards everyone. The water droplets in the air seemed to be strengthened by a mysterious force and directly turned into sharp arrows. Seeing this, everyone was suddenly stunned. The blue light pillar split into 2. One directly bombarded where whale shark and the other 2 were, and the 3 sea spirit beasts were. The other was blasted towards Tang San. Under the restriction of the special and huge domain, everyone was completely unable to react and was attacked violently. It's the deep sea demon whale. Tang San's eyes were bloodshot. With a roar, he directly used his golden body soul skill. His voice spread to everyone's spiritual minds. No one expected that the deep sea demon whale would actually appear here. The moment the golden body was bombarded by the blue light pillar, countless cracks appeared on it. Tang San was even more shocked. The attack of the deep-sea demon whale this time was much stronger than last time. Could it be that this deep-sea demon whale did not use its full strength last time? One had to know that his current strength was at rank 80, and his soul power was many times stronger. Even this golden body could not last for more than a few seconds. One could imagine how strong this attack was. Little White, under his feet, also suffered this attack. Fortunately, the main target of the deep-sea demon whale was Tang San, as well as Whale Shark and the other two sea spirit beasts. Little White did not suffer serious injuries. Tang San immediately felt the special domain of the deep-sea demon whale. But the attack of the deep-sea demon whale was faster. It was as if it had been lying in ambush for a long time. Vaguely, Tang San seemed to have understood something, but at this moment, there was not much time to think about it, because the timing of the opponent was too accurate. This old monster who had lived for so many years completely chose to attack when they had just finished fighting, when their soul power was empty and their bodies were weak. In the depths of the sea, a violent roar sounded with anger and coldness. A terrifying figure, which was not inferior to the speed of the great white demon shark, rushed out of the sea in the blink of an eye. The bottom of the sea where they were fighting was only 500 to 600 meters deep. The deep-sea demon whale, which was more than 200 meters, jumped out of the sea in almost a blink of an eye. It covered the sun in the sky. Everyone could even see that the underbelly of the deep-sea demon whale lit up with countless black lines, which finally formed a boundless domain and imprisoned the sea area they were in. At the same time, in order to protect the blackwater crocodile and the blood dragon, the largest whale shark directly blocked in front of them and took the attack. It was directly in a state of serious injury. One of its dorsal fins was directly penetrated and dripping with blood. End of this chapter. Chapter 780. Sister Shark. The blackwater crocodile and the Gorfine dragon were further away and did not receive this attack. However, under the bombardment of countless waves, they were swaying unsteadily. Go quickly. The whale shark spat out a bloody mist and said angrily, "We can't defeat this deep-sea demon whale in our current state. This beast must have been lying in ambush here for a long time. Maybe the 300,000-year sea soul beasts were all planned by him. No matter what his purpose is, you guys should leave quickly." "No," the blackwater crocodile roared. "After so many years, you want us to leave now? How are we going to explain to boss? I can't leave. If we die, we die together." "Same." The Gorfine dragon let out a buzzing sound, obviously furious. Seeing this, the whale shark was startled and sighed. "Sigh, why bother? It's better if one of us can't survive." Just as he finished speaking, the deep-sea demon whale leaped out of the sea and covered the sky. Its huge body seemed to be weightless. With a slight turn, the huge whirlpool on its back was aimed at everyone again. Boom, boom, boom. 3 consecutive blue light pillars directly blasted through the sea surface. This time, the Gorfine dragon and the blackwater crocodile blocked in front of the whale shark. How could the attacks of the deep-sea demon whale be resisted by these sea soul beasts that had just stepped into the realm of 100,000 years? Not to mention that they were now exhausted. Even if they were in their peak state, they would not be able to resist it. The enraged deep-sea demon whale was invincible in the sea. Even the demonic tiger whale kings group was easy to deal with for the deep-sea demon whale now. The blackwater crocodile used its remaining soul power and spat out a water pillar to resist the blue light pillar. The Gorfine dragon also spat out a thick blood light. The two became one. However, the blue light pillar with a diameter of 10 meters only paused for a moment and reduced by 1/3. It still landed on the 2 sea soul beasts easily. 2 miserable roars were heard. The blackwater crocodile's wings were directly smashed into pieces. The Gorfine dragon used its sturdy tail to wrap around its head, but under the blue light pillar, its tail also disappeared. The 2 sea soul beasts were seriously injured. "Sister crocodile, brother dragon." The whale shark roared angrily. The 3 of them had known each other for many years and had always been suppressed under the ring-shaped sea region. This was not some plastic brotherhood. However, it could only watch helplessly as the Blackwater crocodile and the blood flood dragon were instantly heavily injured and fell onto its back. The deep-sea demon whale's terrifying and mysterious domain imprisoned everything in the sea, making it difficult for her to move. If they were in their peak condition, the three of them could easily escape. If they couldn't win, they could run away. However, they had just finished a battle and had consumed a lot of energy, and they were ambushed. That was why he had suffered such heavy injuries. On the other side, 3 beams of light shot towards a whale shark. The other 2 were aimed at Tang San and the rest of the people. Dai Mu Bai, Ma Hongjun, and the others were not the main targets. However, the falling waves formed countless water-shaped arrows that shot towards them like tens of thousands of arrows. The most serious thing was that in the demon whale's domain, all of them felt as if their bodies were filled with lead. It was extremely difficult for them to move, and they had consumed a large amount of their soul power. Dodging was extremely difficult. Fortunately, they were all soul sages over rank 70, and they were much stronger than the deep-sea demon whale they had encountered before. However, Tang San was not around, because only the few of them were left chasing after the evil demon Tiger Shark King. The deep-sea demon whale's attack was extremely fast and did not give them any time to catch their breaths. However, they did not panic at this moment, and the 7 of them immediately gathered together. With Dai Mu Bai, who had the strongest defense, taking the lead, he unleashed his white tiger true body and formed a huge light barrier to block the attacks of the arrows. The rest of them channeled their remaining soul power into Dai Mu Bai. With the 7 of them combined, they could barely block the attacks. Countless water arrows rained down on the white gold light barrier formed by Dai Mu Bai. Swish, swish, swish. Some of the water arrows pierced through the light barrier and caused several wounds on Dai Mu Bai's body. However, his physique was shocking, and his defense was strong. The arrows that were weakened by the light barrier caused very little damage to him. In addition to the 7 people's soul power, Ning Rongrong, Shun Lingqi, and Oscar, Dai Mu Bai's strength had reached a terrifying level. His defense was extremely perverse, especially when he unleashed his martial soul true body, the white tiger true body. He could block most of the attacks. Otherwise, just the 3 of them alone would not be able to withstand such attacks. The rest of the great white demon shark's defenses were average. Under such attacks, only a small number of them could avoid them, and most of them were injured. At this moment, the deep-sea demon whale shot out 3 blue light pillars, and one of them directly broke the white gold light pillar formed by Dai Mu Bai. Even his martial soul true body was directly broken. The 7 of them were instantly blasted away, and they all spat out blood. Actually, with their current strength, if the 7 of them worked together and defended at full strength, it would not be so bad. However, the key was that after the battle, the 7 of them were in a state of exhaustion. In comparison, Tang San was in a better state, but his golden body could not hold on any longer. This was because the deep-sea demon whale's attacks were stronger each time, and it was obvious that it had used its full strength. Whitey, who was at his feet, was also covered with wounds. Its originally blue eyes, which were filled with intelligence, were now covered with blood. "How are you?" Xiaobai asked with difficulty. Tang San's face was pale. His golden body could be used 3 times, but he could not use it now. This was because he had no soul power left. After killing the demonic tiger whale king with Xiaobai, he originally had a lot of soul power left, but after using his golden body twice, it was all used up. He looked at his companions in the distance and realized that they were in the same state. Even the 3 aquatic soul beasts were in a very serious state. However, the deep-sea demon whale did not seem to give them a chance to react. The deep-sea demon whale, which had just landed, jumped up again, turned its back, and was about to shoot 3 more intense blue light pillars at them, accompanied by endless waves. In an instant, endless blue light gathered in the whirlpool on the back of the deep-sea demon whale, and it carried a light that could destroy everything. They knew that once this attack landed, no one would be able to block it. But at this moment, the moment when the blue light was at its most intense and was about to be shot out, a silver light suddenly came from afar, and with a boundless aura, it directly hit the exposed abdomen of the deep-sea demon whale. No one knew what this silver light was, but even the deep-sea demon whale was hit by it, and it let out a furious roar. Its body, which was more than 200 meters long, was actually hit to the side, and even the blue light pillars on its back were slightly crooked, and it did not attack anyone at all. They were lucky to survive. At the same time, everyone immediately looked at that silver light. That was a pillar, a silver pillar. It was the heavy silver pillar. It was more than 70 meters long and weighed more than 500,000 kilograms. A pillar that shocked the demonic whale. And at the top of this pillar, there was a man standing, a man whose whole body was covered in flames, and 7 blood patterns lit up on his body, as if he was the reincarnation of a demon god. Seeing this man, all the soul beasts were stunned. P.S. There are 3 more updates tonight, and 10 more updates today. Please count your votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 781. The heavy silver pillar weighing hundreds of thousands of kilograms smashed into the abdomen of the deep-sea demon whale. The scene could be said to be extremely shocking, although that huge force only made the deep-sea demon whale's body tremble slightly. It seemed to have penetrated the deep-sea demon whale and directly dispersed the hundreds of meters of waves below. The 3 deviated blue light pillars landed in the distance, as if they had blasted 3 huge craters in the sea. The deep-sea demon whale let out a painful roar and landed on the surface of the sea, splashing countless waves. The figure on the heavy silver pillar was panting at this moment and seemed to be in a hurry. But to everyone and the beasts, it was extremely familiar. Boss! The blackwater crocodile and the blood dragon on the back of the whale shark exclaimed in surprise. Wang Wu, Tang San, and the others were bewildered and doubtful. They couldn't believe it. Why did he appear here? Wasn't he still cultivating in the desperate situation of furious waves? However, seeing the latter throw the heavy silver pillar weighing hundreds of thousands of kilograms directly over, they couldn't help but be shocked. Could it be that this heavy silver pillar weighing at least 500,000 kilograms was as light as a feather to him? In fact, it was really as light as a feather. Wang Feng didn't just swing it with his physical strength at this time. Instead, he used his soul power and the power of the blood pattern. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to move the heavy silver pillar so easily. One hand landed on the heavy silver pillar, and the majestic soul power firmly attached to it. It was as if it was stuck to Wang Feng's palm. He looked at the deep-sea demon whale coldly. The premonition brought about by cultivating the anterior secret word made Wang Feng think of an extremely strange possibility. Could all of this be done by the deep-sea demon whale on purpose? This beast must have been extremely unhappy because he had escaped. After all, it had chased him for so long, but he had managed to escape. It must be very angry and wanted to find him. But how could it be so easy to lure out a peerless master like him? So this deep-sea demon whale stirred up the 300,000-year soul beasts and joined the evil demon killer whale group to cause trouble, causing a bloody storm on the sea and finally forcing him to take action. It was because he had attacked Tang San and his men. At that time, Tang San and the others were unconscious and didn't know. But after the demon whale was lured away by him, it must know that he did it to let Tang San and the others leave safely. After knowing the reason, the deep-sea demon whale used this method to create all kinds of trouble in the sea through the evil demon whale. They were looking for opportunities to lure out Tang San and the others, or to lure him out. Then, he would use the evil demon killer whale as bait while he secretly ambushed them. He would definitely kill Tang San and the others or himself. That was why all the previous situations had occurred. After thinking it through, Wang Feng finally knew where the premonition in his heart came from. It was this deep-sea demon whale. It could be said that he was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. That was why he didn't stop to rest. Through the white cloud-bound flag and the connection of the whale sharks, he was able to locate this place. He had wanted to tell Possessi about it, but after thinking about it, he realized that Possessi wouldn't leave the sea god's island. Moreover, he didn't have any evidence to prove that the deep-sea demon whale would really appear. It was just a hunch. So, it would be very troublesome to explain. So he came here first. He didn't expect that he would arrive just in time. Wang Fengxin breathed a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was also a little angry. This beast, the deep-sea demon whale, was too cunning. If he had come a few seconds later, it would have been all over. Thinking of this, Wang Feng looked at the deep-sea demon whale with even colder eyes. Wang Feng knew that with his strength, it was still not possible to kill this deep-sea demon whale. However, it was not impossible to beat it up and injure it. He could do it even without using the pango axe. The current him was no longer the Wang Feng who could only make a small wound a few meters long on this deep-sea demon whale with the pango axe. He was now close to level 79, and his body had been greatly strengthened. Under the transformation of the chaotic divine light, his body had reached a limit. He could even lift this heavy silver pillar that weighed more than 500,000 kilograms easily. At the same time, his mind power had reached the zero boundary point. The silver mind power was as vast as the sea. He could clearly sense everything in the sea below. He even sensed the fleeing sky, silver, sea mother clearly. After the transformation of his soul power, every form of the chaotic green lotus had been strengthened. He had also obtained an 800,000-year soul ring and the chaotic green lotus martial soul true body. These enhancements gave Wang Feng sufficient confidence to face this deep-sea demon whale, even without using the pango axe. With the release of the original Sin's domain, the deep-sea demon whale's domain was reduced to the lowest possible level. At the same time, a huge sword slashed down when the deep-sea demon whale fell into the sea. This was the third move of the seven-killing swordplay, sword-splitting Southern Mountain. With Wang Feng's current understanding and strength, he could no longer use the real seven-killing swordplay without touching the sword. Its power was not inferior, and it was even stronger. To be precise, this was not the seven-killing swordplay, but the seven-killing sword art. Under the control of his majestic mind power, the huge sword formed by the mysterious underworld armor was much smaller than the heavy silver pillar. However, it still weighed close to 50,000 kilograms. The sword light formed directly, slashed down, and landed on the deep-sea demon whale's back, instantly slicing open a wound that was more than 10 meters long. One had to know that Wang Feng's mind power had already reached the peak. The power of the mysterious underworld flying sword and the seven-killing sword art could be ranked in the top 3 among all of Wang Feng's offensive abilities. After all, the power of the mysterious underworld flying sword was linked to one's mind power. Right now, the power of the mysterious underworld flying sword surpassed the power of Wang Feng's pango axe. One could imagine how much Wang Feng's mind power had increased. At this moment, the deep-sea demon whale recognized Wang Feng. Even if Wang Feng did not use the pango axe, the deep-sea demon whale could not forget the aura on his body. This was because when Wang Feng used the pango axe, he also activated the power of the blood pattern. The deep-sea demon whale could not forget. The deep-sea demon whale suddenly surged. The water in the sea seemed to decrease as it was absorbed into the deep-sea demon whale's body. This absorption was completely through the surface of its body. At the same time, the deep-sea demon whale's body started to light up. The whirlpool on its back turned from blue to dark blue. It was clearly borrowing the power of the sea. The power of the domain became stronger. The faces of Tang San and the others sank. It was as if there was endless pressure from the sea pressing down on their bodies. Their bodies were on the verge of cracking. Even the 3 whale shark soul beasts were the same. This was the deep-sea demon whale's special domain, the deep-sea domain. End of chapter. Chapter 782. Those who could withstand it still had enough strength to suppress their enemies. This kind of sea pressure was even more terrifying than when Wang Feng was at the bottom of the ring-shaped sea, which was 5,500 meters deep. The deep-sea demon whale lived in the deep sea. which was 10,000 meters deep. This kind of deep-sea domain directly pressed down, which was equivalent to everyone having to withstand the pressure of 10,000 meters of sea water. Wang Feng snorted coldly. He turned his hand, and the green lotus flag of the innate 5-element flags appeared. The green lotus flag expanded in midair. After it appeared, the green lotus flag suddenly emitted an intense light. When he fought with the deep-sea demon whale for the first time, the green lotus flag could only cover Wang Feng's area and prevent him from being threatened by the deep-sea demon whale's domain. But now, the green light spread out like a tide, and almost 1/3 of the deep-sea demon whale's domain was covered. It was directly reduced. Although it was still strong enough to directly remove the deep-sea demon whale's domain, it was reduced by 1/3, which was already very exaggerated. Wang Feng was not even rank 79 now. The 3 whale sharks that were covered by the green light quickly recovered. At the same time, Wang Feng transmitted his spiritual intent over. Let's go. Although the domain had a healing effect, it was impossible for these 3 fellows to fully recover from their injuries for the time being. Without the pressure of the deep-sea demon whale's domain, the 3 soul beasts still had the ability to leave this place. The people on Tangsan's side did not hesitate and quickly left. In their opinion, Wang Wu's appearance here was obviously related to the 3 soul beasts he had subdued. Taking advantage of this time, they left directly to avoid any accidents. Before leaving, Whitey even dragged the corpse of the demonic killer whale king away. This was because Tang San needed this evil tiger whale king to absorb the soul ring. Zhu Qing, why are you still in a daze? Ning Rong Rong pulled Zhu Qing, who was still in a daze, and whispered, let's leave quickly. This Wang Wu came at the right time. He might have come to save the 3 soul beast brothers he had subdued. I didn't expect him to have such feelings for soul beasts. We're probably just passing by. It's best to leave quickly. Otherwise, he might kill us here with a thought. Even Senior Possessee would have nothing to say. So we have to leave quickly. After speaking, Ning Rongrong looked at Zhu Qing with a twinkle in her eyes. Zhu Qing looked at Wang Wu, who was holding the heavy silver pillar. At this moment, he was rushing towards the surface of the sea and smashing the deep-sea demon whale with the pillar. But this time, the deep-sea demon whale was prepared. After absorbing the water, its body seemed to become extremely elastic. When a heavy silver pillar fell, it was directly repelled. Even the heavy silver pillar was sent flying. Wang Feng was also sent flying. Zhu Qing gritted her teeth. She knew that she would be a burden if she stayed behind. Wang Feng was different from when he'd been in the Pontiff's palace. He was so strong that even the possessee had to sigh in admiration. Furthermore, he'd absorbed an 800,000-year soul ring, so nothing would happen to him. No one could let anything happen to him. If he were to rush out at this time, it would be troublesome. Although Zhu Qing didn't know everything about Wang Feng, she had a great understanding of Wang Feng's strength. After all, she had seen Wang Feng become stronger in the Sea God's Island. Zhu Qing nodded quickly. She rode on a great white demon shark and quickly left. From the corner of her eyes, she could only see the figure that looked like the reincarnation of the demon god, waving the heavy silver pillar again and again to attack the deep-sea demon whale. Ray after ray of sword light covered the sky and covered the sun. Sword scars fell down, splitting the boundless sea. It made the sea seem as if it was hanging upside down in the sky. It fell down like an endless waterfall, covering the momentum of the battle between the two. This Wang Wu is really abnormal. He can even fight the deep-sea demon whale king back and forth. Ma Hongjuan's face was red. He gasped for breath. In the past 2 years, his strength has increased more than we imagined. I wonder if the senior possessee can defeat him? Everyone was silent for a while. Whether it was in the Sea God's Mountain or in the Furious Wave's desperate situation, they knew that Wang Wu was very strong. However, they didn't know how strong he was. For example, they didn't even know how old Wang Feng's godly soul ring was. They could only guess that it was more than 100,000 years old. Now, he finally had a clearer understanding of the situation. When he came, he was even stronger than the sword Douluo. It has only been 2 years, but he is already as strong as the senior possessee. The rest of the people also sighed and felt a little silent. It's simply cheating, Ma Hongjun cursed. Even if the captain is here, he probably can't defeat this Pope Tiff Wang Wu, right? There was no other way. The strength this Wang Wu showed was too strong. Wang Feng is definitely stronger than this Wang Wu. Ning Rongrong retorted, Fatty, don't talk nonsense. Ma Hongjun chuckled. The group of people had escaped from death and completed the assessment. They could be considered to have accomplished their mission. As they gradually left the sea area where the battle was still ongoing, their moods gradually relaxed. This person called Wang Wu is indeed very strong. At this time, Little White, who was under Tang San's feet, was silent for a moment and said, But what makes me even more surprised is that he actually came to rescue the three soul beasts. He even fought the deep-sea demon whale. The deep-sea demon whale is not that simple. That Wang Wu may not be able to retreat safely. Speaking of this, Little White glanced at Tang San and whispered, Although I don't know why you became enemies with this kind of person, but he can take such a risk for the three soul beasts he subdued. He can't be a bad person. For us soul beasts, if we can really meet such a human as a master, I don't know how much good fortune we have accumulated in our previous life. Back then, I was able to become the mount of the sea god in the demon soul Great White Shark clan. But now that the sea god has left this world, I'm a little envious of those three soul beasts. Hearing this, everyone was silent. All along, they've been looking at the problem from their own perspective. But now, after hearing Little White's remarks, they suddenly realized that such a person could become the White Pope Tiff of the Martial Spirit Palace. Even the Pope BB Don valued him so much. His strength and charisma seemed to be rare, and it could even be said that he was the only one. No one could compare to the peerless glory hidden under the mask of the other party. Thinking of this, is the Martial Spirit Palace wrong? A group of people pondered, why should such a person join the Martial Spirit Palace? It's just that we have different standpoints. There's no distinction between good and bad. Tang San was silent for a long time and slowly said, Humans hunting soul beasts is natural selection. The Martial Spirit Palace itself is not wrong. Just like soul beasts often attack and hunt soul masters. But the Martial Spirit Palace is not wrong for this world, but for us, it is wrong. Our philosophy is different, and we have enmity. Chapter 783. Brother Feng once said that he wanted to unify the continent. His idea and Bibidan's idea are the same. It's just that the method is different. They both want to unite the continent and develop it better. However, this sort of thinking is actually also wrong for the two great empires, because it is impossible. Tang San sighed and said, I don't know how the continent is now. Hearing this, everyone was a little absent-minded. Yes, how is the continent? How is Brother Feng on the continent? They didn't know. They could only try their best to complete the Sea God's test and improve their strength. When they returned to the continent, they could rely on their own strength to fight against the Martial Spirit Palace. Zhu Zhuqing was the only one who remained silent. She didn't know what to say. At this moment, even though they had left the area where the deep-sea demonic whale was, there was a sudden violent current. Even a great white demon soul shark under their feet was a little unsteady and looked back in shock. They were already very far away from that area. How could the aftermath of the battle still affect this place? The deep-sea demonic whale gets stronger and stronger in the sea. It's almost invincible in the sea. Whitey said deeply, as long as there's seawater, the deep-sea demonic whale won't die. It will only get stronger and stronger. As soon as Whitey finished speaking, at this moment, a pale green light column suddenly shot up to the sky. An invisible aura came from that direction. The 9 people's faces changed slightly. They only felt a vague aura that seemed to cover the sky and the sea. That pillar of light seems to be the one that appeared on Wang Wu's 1001st step. What exactly is that? Everyone looked at it in shock. Zhu Zhuqing also stared at that light column. Although they didn't know what that light column was, it meant that he must have been forced to use his full strength. This light column, it was the chaotic green lotus martial spirit true body. The deep-sea demonic whale's strength was indeed out of Wang Feng's expectation. Since the deep-sea demonic whale absorbed a lot of seawater, Wang Feng found that his attacks, whether it was the heavy silver pillar or the Xianming flying sword, had no effect on the deep-sea demonic whale. How was this possible? His body became filled with elasticity as well, and even the injuries caused by the Netheresium flying sword were swiftly repaired within the dense layers of aqua blue-colored light. Wang Feng was truly shocked. The strength of this deep-sea magic whale king seemed to be a bit stronger than he had imagined. When the heavy silver pillar, which weighed more than 500,000 kilograms, landed on the body of the deep-sea demon whale, the deep-sea demon whale was repelled or shaken away. But now, when it landed on his body, it bounced back. The Netheresium flying sword seemed as if it had stabbed into rubber, and the damage it caused was extremely limited. Seeing this, Wang Feng knew that it would not be so easy to cause real harm to the deep-sea demon whale. Furthermore, the strength of the other party's domain was constantly increasing. It even suppressed the light emitted by the green lotus flag. Wang Feng had a vague feeling that he was fighting against the sea. This was the feeling of fighting against the boundless ocean. It should be the special ability of the deep-sea demon whale. Wang Feng sneered. Can't hurt you? If it was in the past, I might not be able to do anything about it. Because the deep-sea demon whale's domain was too strong, Wang Feng had to use the 5-element flags to slow it down. If it was in the past, Wang Feng would not be able to use other forms. Otherwise, it would be very uncomfortable for Wang Feng to take on the deep-sea demon whale's domain head-on. No matter how strong Wang Feng was now, he could not be compared to the sea. Perhaps the deep-sea demon whale did not borrow the strength of the entire sea, but the sea with him as the center could become his strength. But it was different now. Once the chaotic green lotus true body appeared, its roots turned into the god-slaying spear and landed in Wang Feng's hand. 7 soul rings lit up from Wang Feng's body. Under the chaotic green lotus true body, the innate 5-element domain turned into a faint green world, as if it was nurturing chaos. The 5-element flags revolved around Wang Feng slowly, resisting the strength of the deep-sea demon whale. With his other hand, he held the god-slaying spear and charged towards the deep-sea demon whale. Seeing that Wang Feng dared to charge towards it, the deep-sea demon whale revealed a cold look in its eyes. This human is so strong that it is beyond imagination. His abilities are also strange, but it did not matter. In the sea, he was invincible. He was with the sea, and unless it was a god, no one could harm him. Any damage would be transferred to the vast and unfathomable sea. This was not a domain, but his innate ability, an ability that he was born with. Although it only had one eye, the deep-sea demon whale's eye was not simple. It could break any soul skill released by the opponent. As long as the opponent was in the domain, it would be interrupted. When Wang Feng used the soul-devouring blood wings, it was almost a teleportation skill, but it was interrupted. In fact, Wang Feng could escape now. Under the light of the green lotus flag, the deep-sea demon whale could not interrupt Wang Feng's teleportation. In addition, Wang Feng's current spiritual power was so strong that it was impossible to interrupt. But how could Wang Feng escape? The deep-sea demon whale had set a trap, injured his underlings, and almost killed Zhu Zhuqing and the rest. He had to take revenge. Otherwise, what was the point of cultivating so hard? Wang Feng did not apply any status on himself. Under the chaotic green lotus true body, the innate 5-element domain made Wang Feng a true man for 25 seconds. Any buffs were meaningless. He just needed to stab it with his spear. The light in the deep-sea demon whale's eye did not interrupt Wang Feng's attack. Even the blood-red light condensed in the vortex on its back did not have any effect on Wang Feng. This invincibility was much stronger than Tang San's golden body. Tang San's golden body could only last for 3 seconds, and in the face of the deep-sea demon whale's strongest attack, it could be broken. It could only be used 3 times a day, and it could not block the impact of the opponent's attack. But invincibility in the innate five-element domain was immune to everything. Although it was called invincibility, it was more like Wang Feng existed in the void of chaos and was not affected by any attack. Even the impact of the opponent's attack could not push Wang Feng back. One could imagine how powerful this invincibility was. Wang Feng did not dodge. He landed in a straight line, and any attack turned invisible. The cold light at the tip of the soul-slaying spear seemed to dye the sea red. A violent roar sounded. "Evil beast, take my spear!" The spear fell, like the falling of the stars and the falling of the golden crow. Under the deep-sea demon whale's incredulous gaze, a blood-red light so deep that bones could be seen. P.S. Please vote. Chapter 784. As the spear fell, the powerful attack power of the god-slaying spear was fully displayed at this moment. The rubber-like deep-sea demon whale was directly pierced by this spear, leaving a fist-sized hole. The tip of the spear exuded a fierce blood aura, which instantly spread into the soul of the deep-sea demon whale. Coupled with the spiritual attack of the innate five directions domain, even the deep-sea demon whale's spirit was shaken by the impact. The blood patterns on the spear lit up with dazzling light. This was the effect of the god-slaying spear's blood devour. It could absorb the opponent's life force. The blood-winged dragon beetle's soul ring was originally 60,000 years. After being upgraded several times by the system, it had already become a 100,000-year soul ring. The soul-devouring bloodwing's soul skill had also been greatly strengthened. The blood devour effect was considered a kind of evil ability. The siphoned soul skill of the torso bone only absorbed the opponent's soul power, and it was a long-distance absorption. But the blood devour effect directly absorbed the opponent's life force. It weakened the opponent. The stronger the enemy's life force, the more obvious the effect was. For an existence like the deep-sea demon whale, with a gentle suck, a river of life force would flow into the body. Even with Wang Feng's strength, he could clearly feel how powerful this deep-sea demon whale's life force was. It was as vast as the sea. But Wang Feng didn't hesitate. He stabbed the spear into the back of the deep-sea demon whale and pulled hard, leaving a bloody wound so deep that the bone could be seen. Blood splattered. Roar. The deep-sea demon whale didn't expect that the opponent could still attack him at this time. This spear seemed to break all illusions and directly hurt his body, especially the blood aura from the tip of the spear, which penetrated his soul and made his spirit a little chaotic. Divine weapon? The deep-sea demon whale felt a faint fear in his heart. This was unbelievable to him. How many years had it been? A human soul master could actually make him feel a trace of fear? Even if it was only a trace of fear, it was unprecedented for the deep-sea demon whale. What surprised him even more was how could the opponent hurt him. With his ability to become one with the sea, normal attacks would not be able to hurt him. Any attack would be diverted into the sea, where it would be absorbed and assimilated, unless the opponent's attack could directly overturn this sea. But at this moment, anger, fear, these two different emotions coupled with the mental impact made the deep-sea demon whale hesitate. Because of this hesitation, Wang Feng shot out a few more times, drawing bloody scars on the back of the deep-sea demon whale. Of course, Wang Feng did not draw it casually. He carved a few words in addition to the attack of the god-slaying spear. It was impossible to eliminate it. Even if the deep-sea demon whale could suppress the injury, it would not be able to heal it. Of course, Wang Feng was not sure. After all, this deep-sea demon whale was infinitely close to 1,000,000 years old. Compared to Possessi, it should not be any weaker or even slightly stronger. However, these words would stay on the deep-sea demon whale for a long time. At this time, the deep-sea demon whale also woke up. Feeling the intense pain in its back, it roared again and again. In the next moment, the deep-sea demon whale's body began to glow with a purple light. Wang Feng felt an invisible force coming out of the deep-sea demon whale's body. The tremendous force blasted Wang Feng away. The purple light was like an armor, covering the surface of the deep-sea demon whale. Under the cover of the light, a layer of purple crystals quickly formed. Wang Feng frowned slightly. The innate 5 directions domain's duration was running out. The previous wave of attack took more than 10 seconds. The deep-sea demon whale seems to be enlarging. Wang Feng stopped in midair. The god-slaying spear fell on the deep-sea demon whale's body again, but it was blocked by the purple crystals. Seeing this, Wang Feng was slightly surprised. With the support of the chaotic green lotus true body, the attack of his god-slaying spear was extremely strong. Could the purple crystals be some kind of special armor? Divine armor? Roar! At this moment, the deep-sea demon whale roared angrily again. Then it jumped up. Its body was huge, but with a light jump, it jumped hundreds of meters high. Countless purple lines lit up on the deep-sea demon whale's body. Rumble! In the sky, lightning flashed, as if reflecting the deep-sea demon whale. Wang Feng's pupils shrank. This deep-sea demon whale also has the power to control lightning? Dual attributes? In the next moment, countless purplish-blue lightning bolts suddenly struck down from the sky, forming a dense lightning net as they struck towards Wang Feng with great momentum. The attack of a 100-year or 10,000-year-old beast was naturally extraordinary. But Wang Feng was now in an invincible state, so these thunderbolts were useless against him. At most, they could only hinder him. Obviously, this deep-sea demon whale already knew that he was in an invincible state and must have guessed that his invincible state could only last for a period of time. He just needed to exhaust this period of time. Looking at the thousands of thunderbolts, Wang Feng waved his hand. In an instant, dense 2-colored light spots suddenly appeared in the domain. One was white, and the other was black. It was not that easy to delay him. These 2 lights appeared densely in the innate 5 directions domain. Then, they rapidly expanded and shot out from various parts of the domain. In the innate 5 direction domain, there were 2 types of light cannon attacks, black and white. They contained great power, similar to the 2 attacks of the 5-headed star dragon. The dense light spots formed a light beam, blasting toward the thousands of thunderbolts. In an instant, these light cannons were swallowed up and then burst out a violent halo, shaking the sky. In terms of attack strength, the million-year-old deep-sea demon whale was still stronger. Of course, Wang Feng could not compete with it. But the giant net formed by thousands of thunderbolts weakened a little, turning into thick thunderbolts that struck down. Wang Feng squinted his eyes and jumped into the sky, stepping toward the thousands of thunderbolts. The deep-sea demon whale roared, and the purple light on its body shone brighter. It seemed to be surprised that this human dared to crash into it. But it was good because the deep-sea demon whale could sense that Wang Feng's soul power was rapidly draining. Obviously, maintaining this state consumed a lot of soul power. It could even calculate when Wang Feng would get out of this invincible state. At most a few seconds, the deep-sea demon whale's eyes flashed with blue-purple light, staring at Wang Feng. As long as the other party's state was gone, he would die. Wang Feng faced the thunderbolts, and the weakened thunderbolts fell on his body. In an instant, his whole body shone with purple light, but Wang Feng smiled. Then, he turned the tip of the god-slaying spear and faced the countless thunderbolts. It was like a conductive needle. The crackling purple thunderbolts crazily struck the tip of the god-slaying spear. End of chapter. Chapter 785. Right at this moment, the howling wind started to revolve around Wang Feng. Along with the purple lightning, it formed a green and purple lightning hurricane. I'll let you have a taste of it in the last few seconds. This is the heaven and earth wind thunder. Wang Feng's pupils shone brightly as his aura surged. The god-slaying spear in his hand exuded an aura that could devour the sun and moon. With a thought, the power of the lightning and hurricane merged into one and condensed on the god-slaying spear. A power that could make heaven and earth tremble suddenly erupted. The deep-sea demon whale's huge pupils shrank. Even he could feel the destructive power. In the next moment, before he could react, Wang Feng fell from the sky and turned into a green and purple shooting star. As if he had teleported, he landed directly on the deep-sea demon whale's huge body. Almost at the same time, the purple crystal that covered the deep-sea demon whale's body cracked and shattered. This spear pierced the deep-sea demon whale's body again, and the damage was several times greater than before. The heaven and earth wind thunder divine spear technique that Wang Feng created was released with the god-slaying spear and combined with the true power of the lightning and hurricane of heaven and earth. It was the most complete form. As a self-created technique, Wang Feng would never forget it. It would only become more and more profound and stronger. This spear also condensed all of Wang Feng's strength. Even the deep-sea demon whale would be severely injured by this spear. It would become the spear that he would never forget in his life. In the next moment, Wang Feng did not hesitate. He pulled out the god-slaying spear and left quickly with the blood wings behind him. At the same time, at the last second, when the domain was still there, the blood wings shone brightly. The deep-sea demon whale let out a painful roar. This spear almost pierced through his body. Although he would not die with his life force, he was still severely injured. And now, this human was going to use the same move again. This human wanted to escape. His state was gone, and his soul power was also used up. The deep-sea demon whale's eyes shone violently as it tried to interrupt Wang Feng's teleportation soul skill. Unfortunately, the deep-sea demon whale's domain was cancelled out by the innate 5 directions domain, so this move could not be interrupted instantly. In addition, Wang Feng's spiritual power was too strong. It was impossible to interrupt. Wang Feng sneered and slowly disappeared from the demon whale's sight. It was impossible to say that he was stronger than the deep-sea demon whale. With the help of the Chaos Green Lotus True Body and the invincibility of the innate 5 directions domain, Wang Feng could inflict great damage to the demon whale, but it was still unrealistic to kill it. His opponent's vitality was too strong. If the invincible state disappeared, Wang Feng would have to face the furious attacks of the deep-sea demon whale. It went without saying that Wang Feng was not stupid enough to fight his opponent head-on under such circumstances. Run away after the fight. Moreover, whether it was the damage caused by the god-slaying spear or the injuries caused by the last move of the heaven and earth thunderstorm, the deep-sea demon whale would not be able to recover in a short period of time. It would also be unable to stir up any trouble. He would wait for the next opportunity to take revenge. Today, he would beat him up to vent his anger. Seeing Wang Feng disappear into the sea once again, the deep-sea demon whale once again let out an extremely angry and unwilling roar. The second time, the human ran away again. How could he run away right under his nose? However, with the current injuries, the deep-sea demon whale knew that it was impossible to chase after him. Whether it was the scratches on his back or the hole that was pierced through just now, his strength was greatly reduced at this moment. It did not know whether he could catch up with him or not. Could he really kill the human? The deep-sea demon whale was a little confused. When it fell into the sea, its body began to emit bursts of blue light, healing the injuries on its body. Only one of its huge eyes was looking at the place where Wang Feng disappeared, flickering with light. Tang San and the others returned to the sea god's island safely. This test could be said to be extremely thrilling. In the end, it was not an exaggeration to say that they had escaped death. What? You said that the deep-sea demon whale attacked you? Possessie's gentle face was filled with surprise at this time. Could it be? As soon as they came back, Tang San and the others found Possessie and told her everything that had happened. From Possessie's reaction, Tang San and the others knew that she definitely did not know about this matter. Senior Possessie, you don't know about this matter either? Ning Rongrong asked in astonishment. We thought that you asked Wang Wu to come and rescue them. At that time, his 3 soul beasts were heavily injured. So you're saying that Wang Wu himself guessed that this would happen? The evil demon whale's colony was a long distance away from the sea god's island. How did Wang Wu know? This question made everyone very confused. I really don't know about this matter. Possessie thought and said, I only asked him to take the 3-soul beast that he had subdued to hold back the 3-soul beast that the evil demon whale had just summoned. I didn't ask him to do that. This deep-sea demon whale has lived in the sea for millions of years and is extremely intelligent. When you came here, you met him and escaped. But logically speaking, with his strength, he won't target you at all. After all, you are too weak to him. Everyone, the deep-sea demon whale probably did this to lure out the peerless powerhouse that he was fighting with. Possessy analyzed a little and figure out the ins and outs of the matter. Everyone was also slightly enlightened. Wang Wu also knows about that peerless powerhouse. It seems that he might have thought of this point, so he rushed over. Possessy sighed and said, I didn't expect him to be so clever and think of this point in time. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. The deep-sea demon whale is already extremely powerful, and he even planned to attack you when you were at your weakest. You didn't even have a chance to escape. Everyone nodded in agreement. What about Wang Wu? Possessy then asked, did he retreat? Tang Sin shook his head and said, no, when we left, he should still be fighting with the deep-sea demon whale. Now, we don't know. However, the aftermath of the battle when they were about to leave was probably not a good situation. Go back and rest first and prepare for the next test. Tang San, your soul power has already reached rank 80. That evil demon whale king's soul ring is still there and can be maintained for a while. Once you have rested, you can absorb it. Possessy thought for a while and said, you don't have to worry about the rest for now. Tang San nodded. Once he had rested and recovered, he planned to absorb it immediately. Although the rest of them were still a few levels away from rank 80, they had done well in this test and were more or less rewarded with 1 or 2 levels. They were not far from rank 80. They also planned to prepare for the 5th test. In a chapter. Chapter 786. After giving the order, Poseidon walked to the surface of the sea alone and looked into the distance with a serious expression. The whale shark, the blood dragon, and the blackwater crocodile had returned to the sea god's island and were resting by the shore. Possessy looked at the 3 injured sea spirit beasts and released his martial soul. He waved the scepter in his hand, and 3 gentle rays of light fell on the 3 sea spirit beasts. The wounds on the 3 sea spirit beasts were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. The battle had made the 3 sea spirit beasts feel very complicated. They must be extremely loyal to Wang Feng, just like when Wang Feng led the 4 sea spirit beasts to kill the ice dragon whale. It was a sublimation of emotions. At this moment, they were recovering quietly and did not communicate with Possessy. Possessy had been staying by the shore, probably at night. In the distance, a figure quickly flew over from the sea. In his hand, there was a 70-meter long, heavy silver pillar. Seeing the figure, Possessy's eyes narrowed slightly. He recognized it at once. It was Wang Wu. Boom! The heavy silver pillar landed on the shore and stabbed into the sand. Wang Feng came down from it and looked at Possessy in confusion. Senior Possessy, what's the matter? Possessy was stunned. Shouldn't I be asking you this question? She looked at Wang Wu and could not help but ask, are you okay? She came to the shore. With her perception of the sea and her enormous spiritual power, she could naturally sense the movement of the surrounding sea spirit beasts. Moreover, in her opinion, Wang Wu would definitely not be able to defeat the deep-sea demon whale. He would probably be injured and run away. Then, he would lead the deep-sea demon whale to the sea god's island, borrowing his own strength, combining the two to suppress and push back the enemy. This was the best plan. It was also the most correct way. Therefore, Possessy came to the shore and planned to cooperate with Wang Wu. However, she was surprised to see that Wang Wu was not injured at all. I'm fine. Wang Feng shook his head. Possessy looked into the distance. With her spiritual power, as long as the deep-sea demon whale appeared in this sea area, she would definitely be able to sense it immediately. Possessy could not help but ask, where is the deep-sea demon whale? He didn't come with you? Wang Feng was stunned and said, come with me? Why did you come with me? I can't tame this soul beast for now. He's really strong. At this point, Wang Feng looked into the distance and continued. I'll spare his life for now. Possessy smiled. Wang Wu's tone was extremely calm, but the tone of his words was extremely arrogant. However, no matter what, Wang Wu was able to return to the sea god's island safely. The deep-sea demon whale didn't come. At least the situation was good. It's all thanks to you this time. Possessy sighed softly. Otherwise, those children would have been buried in the sea. Wang Feng didn't answer. Instead, he looked at Whale Shark and the other two. Bai Saishi's healing was very effective, especially when it came to aquatic soul beasts in the sea. The healing effect was very strong. However, Possessy didn't have the ability to regenerate after being healed. Whale Shark's dorsal fin was pierced, Blackwater Crocodile's wings were pierced, and Blood Dragon's tail was broken. None of them had recovered. It could only be said that most of their injuries had healed. However, for aquatic soul beasts, these parts were lost. It was like a tidal Douluo losing an arm or a leg. Their strength would be greatly affected. These three aquatic soul beasts. Possessy hesitated for a moment. It's a little troublesome to go out now. Why don't you rest first? Wang Feng pondered for a moment. He definitely couldn't go out now. He could only use the golden lotus and spend some time to heal them first. At least, he could let the broken parts grow back. He would think about what to do next. Boss, we're fine. Whale Shark roared. Let's go out. Boss, your matter is the most important. Wang Feng shook his head. Whale Shark's actions were purely to repay his kindness. However, Wang Feng was not in a hurry. Let's talk about it after you've recovered. Wang Feng said, but it'll take a long time for us to recover. Blackwater Crocodile used its tail to pick up one of its wings that was smashed into pieces by the deep-sea demon whale and said softly, it'll take at least a few decades. They were 100,000-year soul beasts. Not only did they need time to grow new limbs, but they also needed to rest. They might not be able to grow new limbs. Many titled Douluo amputated their limbs and took out their soul bones to give to their descendants. Their strength would forever decline, and it would be difficult for them to recover. Tang Hao was one of them. So, I can report to the sea god and make an exception to let the three of them bathe in the light of the sea god and recuperate. They should be able to recover in a few years. Possessy sighed and said, after all, I asked for it. However, Wang Feng shook his head and said, no need. I have my ways. These three aquatic soul beasts didn't really understand the power of the golden lotus. As long as they used all their strength, even if they were 100,000-year soul beasts, they would be able to recover in a few months. When he thought of this, Wang Feng calculated the time and realized that it was less than a year away from the 3 years. It took him 1 to 2 months to leave the martial spirit hall and go to the sea god's island. After that, he went through the test and cultivated for another 2 years. It was less than a few months now. Wang Feng looked into the distance, and his eyes became more serious. I wonder, how was the situation on the continent? The continent. Heavendo Empire, Heavendo City, Shrek Academy. Ning Fengji looked very tired in the meeting room of the Martial Spirit Hall. At the same time, Yu Yuanjin from the Blue Lightning Overlord Sect, Grandmaster Lin, and the Hall Masters of the Tang Sect were all present. Prince Shui Xing, who represented the imperial family of the Heavendo Empire, was also present. So far, there are more than 100 families and dozens of academies around Heavendo City that have joined the Martial Spirit Alliance. There are only a few academies in Heavendo City that are barely holding on. Flender's face was gloomy. Even the Skywind Academy and Blazing Academy, 2 of the 4 elemental academies, have joined the Martial Spirit Alliance. We are in a difficult situation now. The Martial Spirit Alliance. 1.5 years ago, the Martial Spirit Hall suddenly announced the establishment of the continent. In the form of an alliance, they invited all the families, sects, and empires in the continent to join them. They wanted to prosper the continent together and promote the development of the world of soul masters. They stood at the top, and no one could refuse them. Many people knew that the Martial Spirit Hall had bad intentions. They wanted to unify the continent and become the ruler of the continent. However, no one could refuse them. If they didn't join the alliance, they wouldn't be able to enjoy all the benefits that the Martial Spirit Hall had for Soul Masters. The Martial Spirit Hall couldn't guarantee the safety of low-tier Soul Masters. End of chapter. Chapter 787. In the beginning, many sects and clans from the two empires had rejected it. Many Soul Masters had also rejected it. However, the two empires soon realized that the order was in chaos. The martial soul halls in the major cities had closed their doors. Even the most basic Soul Master examination, appraisal, certification, and even awakening the martial soul of a 6-year-old child were in a mess. This required a large number of Soul Masters, and the two empires couldn't afford it. Even if they did, they still had to make special tools for examination and appraisal. At the same time, the Soul Hunting Forest was forbidden from being open to the public, and many clans, sects, and academies could only send their high-tier Soul Masters to the more dangerous Douluo Forest. In the dangerous forest where one could encounter a 10,000-year soul beast at any time, the casualties were extremely heavy. Naturally, the damage was very heavy. High-level Soul Masters could survive, but those ranked 10 to 20 descendants couldn't. The slightest bit of carelessness would result in death. Casualties continued to rise, and with the loss of income and the absence of the Martial Soul Hall to maintain order, there were all sorts of soul cultivators stealing soul rings, ambushing, and even fighting on the streets, causing many casualties. This series of events caused the two empires to feel their scalps tingle. The two empires mostly managed the commoners, and they relied on the Martial Soul Hall to restrict and control Soul Masters. The two empires couldn't afford so many Soul Masters to manage them. Very soon, many Soul Masters started to join the Martial Soul Alliance. After half a year, many clans, sects, and academies also joined the Martial Soul Alliance. This included all the duchies under the two empires. They announced that they were joining the Martial Soul Alliance. At the same time, they weren't considered traitors, as they only joined an alliance. In name, they were still affiliated duchies under the two empires. The two empires couldn't do anything to them. They could only watch as the empire's territories were slowly taken over by the Martial Soul Alliance without much effort. They couldn't even find a good slogan to declare war on the Martial Soul Hall. This move of the Martial Spirit Palace is too cruel. Ning Fengji's expression was a little gloomy. If this continues, the two empires won't be able to hold on for another year. Their families in the army have all chosen to join the Martial Soul Hall. Even if a war breaks out in the future, can these soldiers still face the Martial Soul Hall? Ning Fengji sighed. In the past 2 years, many of the cities under the Empire's banner have lost their authority to manage them. The corners of Prince Xuexing's mouth twitched. Even though the Empire will send a city lord, the Martial Spirit Palace is already a force to be reckoned with. The city lord only exists in name. That pope is really a powerful person. Without shedding a drop of blood, he spent 2 years to reach this step. His Highness the Crown Prince said that we can only put our hopes on Tang San now. At this point, Prince Xuexing sighed. After the coup in the Heaven Do Empire, Tang San and Douluo didn't officially join the Heaven Do Empire's imperial family, but they both received extremely high statuses. Even the vast sea cosmic shroud, the national treasure of the Heaven Do Empire, was gifted to Tang San by Emperor Shui. The meaning behind this was self-evident. As for the Snow Knight Emperor himself, he had already passed away more than a year ago. Just like in the Star Do Empire, Dai Mubai passed the position of Crown Prince to his elder brother before he went out to sea with Tang San. Dai Mubai didn't have much desire for power. In the past, he only wanted to survive. However, with his talent, he didn't care about that anymore. The news from the Star Do Empire is the same. Although the Tang sect has been developing well in the past 2 years, it has been greatly affected. The main thing is that the Martial Spirit Alliance has completely controlled the situation on the continent. Titan shook his head. I wonder when the sect master and the others will return. Other than Titan, the other leaders of the 4 single elemental sects that had joined the Tang sect were all present. After 2 years of development, the Tang sect now had close to 3,000 soul masters. However, it was already at its limit. Most of them were graduates of the Shrek Academy who had chosen to join the Tang sect. I'm afraid that it will be difficult to stop Tang San and the others from returning. At this moment, the Sword Daw opened his eyes. His voice was extremely heavy. After I broke through to rank 97 last month, I took some time to return to the Martial Spirit Hall to report. When I found Pope BB Dawn, I couldn't see through her. Her strength should have already reached an unimaginable level. Other than that, I also sensed an extremely special aura from the Douluo Palace. What aura? Yu Engine frowned. The Sword Daw slowly said, an aura that is about to surpass the limit. It's the same as BB Dawn. It should have surpassed the limits of Soul Masters and reached another level. Hearing this, everyone was shocked. What do you mean? Yu Engine's gaze sharpened. If that's the case, I'm afraid we'll be in trouble. However, although you're an elder of the Martial Spirit Hall in name, the Martial Spirit Hall once attacked the Seven Treasure Glazed Tile sect. Will they let you return? The Sword Daw nodded slightly and said, BB Dong didn't do anything to me. The Martial Soul Alliance is becoming more and more prosperous with each passing day, so there's no way that they would attack a rank 97 titled Douluo like me at a time like this. Furthermore, she sincerely invited me to join the Martial Spirit Alliance, but I rejected her. Speaking of which, the Sword Douluo sighed again. Tang San and the others might not have a smooth time on the Sea God's Island. 2 years ago, that white-robed Pope Diff might have brought the Golden Generation to the Sea God's Island. If things go wrong, Tang San and the others might be greatly obstructed. Whether they can return or not is still a question mark. According to my guess, that holy aura from the Douluo Palace is most likely the one who has the six-winged angel martial soul and is impersonating Shueqinghe. He's also the descendant of the previous pope, Qianren. The Sword Daw looked in the direction of the Martial Spirit City and muttered, the Martial Spirit Hall has always worshipped the angel god. It's been a long time since a god-rank powerhouse appeared on our continent. A storm is coming. That kid is also nowhere to be seen. Everyone was silent. Martial Spirit City, the Douluo Palace, under a huge angel statue. This angel statue was handsome and mighty. It held a golden long sword in its hand, and the six-winged wings on its back seemed to have spirit. They flickered with a strange light, and its eyes seemed to contain a sense of holiness and majesty. The golden long sword was surrounded by a ball of flames and pointed diagonally to the sky. It exuded the aura of a peerless divine weapon and suppressed the boundless aura of the Douluo Palace. The Douluo Palace was the most ancient of the Martial Spirit Halls. It was also the origin of the Martial Spirit Halls. In today's continent, all Soul Masters were proud to join the Douluo Palace. This was because this was the sacred place where all titled Douluo obtained their titles and were conferred. Every new titled Douluo would erect a Douluo's golden plaque here as a symbol. End of chapter. Chapter 788. There were many Douluo's golden plaques hanging around the hall, emitting a strong aura. Every titled Douluo would leave their aura on their Douluo's golden plaque. The angel statue in the center was like a god, suppressing all the Douluo's golden plaques around it. At this moment, the angel statue suddenly emitted a golden light screen. The golden light screen gathered below the statue and finally enveloped the golden figure below the statue. Her beautiful golden hair fluttered in the wind. In a light screen, her cold face was vaguely revealed. Her exquisite facial features made her appear incomparably holy under the light. 9 soul rings rose from her body slowly, pulsating with soul-stirring and magnificent light. After a moment, she opened her eyes, and a wisp of golden flame flashed in her eyes. The mark between her eyebrows flashed with a blazing and holy aura. Grandpa, I passed the 5th test. Grandpa. Qianren opened his eyes slowly and said calmly, "Ha ha, good. Although you have Grandpa's help in the past 2 years, You were able to pass the 6th test by relying on your own efforts and talent. Qianlu stood at the side. The solemn great consecrator of Martial Spirit Palace was smiling, as if he had seen his kid get full marks in the exam. But Xiao Shui, your will is much stronger than I thought. Qianlu smiled and said, "It seems like you really want to go to the Sea God's Island in a year's time." Qian Rinxue turned around and shook his head. "No, I just want to become stronger. Going to the Sea God's Island is just one of the reasons." "So, there's another reason?" Qianlu's eyes flashed. "Is it because you're worried about Poptif?" "Xiao Shui, are you really with him?" Qian Rinxue quickly shook his head and said, "No." Qianlu stared at Qian Rinxue and nodded slightly. "Actually, it doesn't matter whether it is or not. But if there is such a person in your heart who can make you stronger and you will stronger, it is a good thing." Qian Rinxue was stunned, but he didn't say anything. Grandpa had obviously noticed something. After all, the older one got, the wiser one became. "Let's not talk about this anymore." Thousand Streams glanced at the angel statue and said in a deep voice, "Little Snow, the angel's 9 trials from the 7th trial onwards are extremely difficult. Every step after that, if he was not careful, his cultivation base would drop and his life would be in danger. If you really want to go to the Sea God's Island, then you have less than a year to pull out the angelic sword. Because this is a divine weapon of the angel god, your 7th test should be to pull out the angelic holy sword. Once you reach the 7th trial, there won't be many titled Douluo on the entire continent who can match you." Qian Rinxue looked at the holy sword in the angel statue's hand. This sword looked like a statue, but it gave her a strange feeling. As long as one held it, they would possess invincible power. Right now, the situation on the Sea God's Island is unknown. No one from a Martial Spirit Palace can infiltrate that place. But the inheritance of the Sea God's Island can't be passed down so quickly. Even if someone becomes a god successor, they'll have to go through 3 tests in 2 years. Thousand Dao, Lu calculated and said. "However, your mother has a way to know the situation on the Sea God's Island in advance." At this moment, Qian Rinxue's curiosity was piqued by Qian Daoliu's words. "What method does she have?" Qian Rinxue's tone was slightly doubtful. "Even if the people from the Martial Spirit Palace enter the Sea God's Island, they won't be able to come out. I'm still a little confused. With how cautious she is she going to bring people and fight?" "Ha. Of course, your mother isn't that stupid." Thousand Dao, Lu shook her head. "Do you think she sent Poptif and Hulaina just to stop Tang San and the others from obtaining the Sea God's inheritance? In fact, your mother should have told Hulaina and the other 2 to leave the Sea God's Island in advance and return to the Martial Spirit Palace." "Can they leave?" Qian Rinxue frowned. "Won't it arouse suspicion?" "Of course." Thousand Dao, Lu smiled faintly. "When the time comes, she will inform us of the situation on the Sea God's Island in advance. At the very least, we need to prepare for a battle. However, we still need Poptif's help. If your mother's calculations are accurate, we have a 90% chance of winning this battle." Hearing this, Qian Rinxue's heart skipped a beat. "All right, you can rest for a few days before you proceed to the next test." Thousand Dao, Lu waved her hand and said, "I'll go and talk to your mother." After that, Thousand Dao, Lu walked out of the Douluo Palace and went straight to the Pontiff's Palace. When he walked to the entrance of the Pontiff's Palace, he saw Bibi Don standing at the entrance, as if waiting for him. "Xiao Shui has passed the 5th test?" Bibi Don asked. "It seems like you've become stronger again." Thousand Dao, Lu's eyes narrowed. Although gods were sensitive to divine aura, the prerequisite was that they were strong enough. Bibi Don was silent. "Angel God, once what I wanted to do most was to destroy the angel god's inheritance and make every successor of the 6-winged angel martial soul die a horrible death. Cut off the inheritance." Bibi Don looked at the distant sky, and his aura became more and more profound. "But now I hope Xiao Shui can obtain the angel god's inheritance as soon as possible." Thousand Dao, Lu didn't reply. Since she said such words, it meant that she didn't care about it anymore. "In the past 2 years, you've secretly helped Xiao Shui with her tests. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been so fast. Thousand Dao, Lu said slowly, but Xiao Shui doesn't know. Bibi Don shook his head as if he didn't care. Suddenly, he said, I have bad news. What bad news? Thousand Dao, Lu frowned. Is it about the sea god's island? Bibi Don nodded slightly. I sense the aura of a god. If I'm not wrong, I think the successor of the sea god should have appeared on the sea god's island. The aura of a god can't escape my senses. I'm not sure about the specific progress, but there's a high probability that it's Tang San or Wang Feng. It's one of them. In comparison, the rest of the Shrek 7 monsters are less talented and qualified. The sea god doesn't like them. Based on speculation and analysis, Bibi Don was certain that it was one of the two people. If that's the case, Pope Tiff and your disciples will be in danger. Thousand Dao, Lu thought for a while. The sea god has chosen his successor. If Wang Wu dares to interfere with the sea god's test, he'll be discovered easily. With possessive strength, he won't let him go. The sea god's island is too far away from here. Before your disciples return, we don't know anything about the situation there. Thousand Dao Lu knew that Bibi Don sent Wang Wu to the sea god's island to prevent Tang San and the others from obtaining the sea god's test. However, now that the sea god had chosen his successor, the sea god's island would definitely protect him. After all, the successor of the sea god would be the future master of the sea god's island. So, Bibidon's voice was still calm. A glint flashed in his eyes. Perhaps our plan has to be brought forward. Otherwise, if those two people obtain the sea god's inheritance, it'll cause us a lot of trouble. Upon hearing this, Thousand Dao Lu was slightly stunned. He looked at her, speechless. Although what she said was true, Thousand Dao Lu felt that something was wrong. In the end, Thousand Dao Lu said slowly, It's up to you. P.S. 3 more chapters. End of chapter. Chapter 789. 3 months later, on the sea god's island. Wang Feng stood by the shore and waved at the whale shark, the blackwater crocodile, and the blood dragon. In these 3 months, Wang Feng used the golden lotus to help them reconstruct their bodies. But Wang Feng was really tired in these 3 months. He had no choice. The 3 of them were 100,000-year soul beasts. They were missing fins, wings, and tails. To help them grow back, it was equivalent to helping them recover their strength. So it was natural that it was very exhausting. This was not the kind of ordinary injury that Wang Feng had suffered while training with them. For example, when he was training with Odonisuchus and the others in the extreme north, they were often injured. But those were small injuries that could be easily healed with the golden lotus. The 3 whale sharks had been attacked by the deep-sea demon whale. It was impossible for them to recover from the attack of a million-year soul beast. Fortunately, Wang Feng had become much stronger. Coupled with the fact that his soul power had changed and his golden lotus had strengthened, he was able to heal the 3 of them in just 3 months. Then, he had them leave the sea god's island and head to the extreme north. Among them, the whale shark was an old soul beast that had lived in the sea for countless years. Naturally, he knew the location of the extreme north that Wang Feng mentioned. The temperature there is very low. Ordinary soul beasts can't live there. The whale shark said in detail, but that's only for soul beasts under 100,000 years. It doesn't affect the 3 of us much. After reaching 100,000 years, soul beasts could be said to be very adaptable to the environment. No matter how difficult the environment was, they could adapt quickly. Looking at the 3 sea soul beasts, he was still a little reluctant to leave. But as an important part of the plan, the 3 of them had to make a trip to the extreme north. And after cultivating for so long and becoming a 100,000-year soul beast, they had fought with sea soul beasts like the deep-sea demon whale. It was time to leave the sea god's island and see the outside world. Wang Feng was not worried that the deep-sea demon whale would sense their aura and attack them, because the deep-sea demon whale was definitely still recuperating. Even if it went with the vigilance of the 3 of them, it would not be like the last time. The last time, it was because they were schemed against, which led to that situation. How could there be a second time? Although the 3 of them were still unable to defeat the heavily injured deep-sea demon whale, they were more than capable of escaping. Another 3 months passed. Wang Feng looked at the boundless sea. It should be soon, right? BB Dawn and the others should be preparing, right? Calculating the time, it seemed that there was less than half a year left. In the past 3 months, Tang San and the others had also started the 5th exam one after another. Compared to the previous tests, Tang San's 5th test was actually much more difficult. Tang San aside, Dai Mubai, Ma Hongjun, Zhu Zhuqing, and Oscar all had to challenge a titled Dalu, one of the 7 holy pillars. Only then would he pass. Ning Rongrong, on the other hand, was a support. She needed to participate and help everyone. For this test, Shen Lingqi had already completed the 4th test and didn't have a 5th test, so she didn't need to take it. Tang San, as one of the 9 sea god tests, was even more difficult. He had to challenge one side of each test. The time limit was also different. Logically speaking, if it was an ordinary titled Dalu, Wang Feng felt that this test wasn't too difficult. This was because they were already at rank 80. Tang San had even directly broken through rank 80. He had absorbed the evil Tiger Whale King's soul ring and reached rank 84. He even had a third 100,000-year soul bone, the evil Tiger Whale King's soul bone. However, if it was the 7 holy pillars of the Sea God's Island, it would be very difficult. No matter how Wang Feng thought about it, he felt that it was impossible. It was impossible to complete it. This was because the strength of the 7 holy pillars was very terrifying under the holy pillars. Furthermore, it was supported by the Sea God's Island. Not to mention challenging the 7 holy pillars. Even challenging a purple-clothed soul, Dalu, wasn't easy. Tang San's father and his uncle, Tang Xiao, had come to the Sea God's Island to deliver letters when they were young. Although they weren't titled Dalu back then, they were soul Dalu. Furthermore, they had the #1 weapon in the world, the Clear Sky Hammer. However, when they came to Sea God's Island, a titled Dalu casually used 5 or 6 soul skills to capture the 2 of them alive. This was even more difficult than killing them. In other words, could the current strength of Shrek's 7 monsters compare to Tang Hao and Tang Xiao when they were young? Wang Feng felt that they were still lacking. Although Shrek's 7 monsters had consumed immortal herbs and their martial souls had mutated, their strength was extraordinary. If the 2 of them worked together, it wouldn't be a problem for them to fight a titled Dalu. However, the location of the test was on the holy pillars. The Sea Douluo of the 7 holy pillars relied on the holy pillars to cultivate. Beside the holy pillars, there was a sea of water. With the help of the holy pillars and the sea of water, it was too difficult to defeat any of the 7 holy pillars on the Sea God's Island. The only thing that Wang Feng was confident about was that Zhu Zhuqing could win against one of them. He still needed Ning Rongrong's help to be sure of victory. As for the rest, he wasn't sure. However, battles often required a lot of time to verify. If he was familiar with the attacking methods and soul skills of every Sea Douluo, he would be able to target them. From there, he could make targeted attacks and make some tactical deductions. Then, there was really a chance. Other than Tang San, the 7 monsters had a time limit of half a year for this test. Therefore, Wang Feng didn't plan to interfere in this test. He didn't plan to make it more difficult for them. The reason was still very simple. It was uncontrollable and meaningless. As long as he didn't cheat and fought with the 7 holy pillars more than 10 times, he would have a good grasp of their abilities. Thus, the chances of him defeating them would be very high. It was just that the 7 monsters would suffer a little in this stage. Among the 7, only Tang San's test was a little difficult because once the test began, he had to pass all the Holy Pillars tests within 3 consecutive days. He couldn't fail even once, or he would have to start all over again. Fortunately, these 3 days weren't fixed. They could be 3 consecutive days. In these 3 months, Wang Feng didn't pay much attention to Tang San and the others because he had been secretly helping Whale Shark and the others recover. In his spare time, he studied and comprehended what he had gained on the Sea God's Island. Although Wang Feng still hadn't broken through to rank 79 in these 3 months, he was almost there. It had to be said that after his soul power changed, the speed of improvement was really slow. But he couldn't rush it. Wang Feng felt that if he could reach rank 80 before BB Dawn came, he would be very lucky. But it was very difficult. If it was in the past, Wang Feng would have been confident to increase one level in half a year. But now, he really didn't. Quietly looking at the sea, Wang Feng pondered for a long time. Most of the cultivation now didn't mean much to him, because his spiritual power and physical potential had entered a state of fullness. There wasn't much room for improvement. Only his soul power was increasing very slowly. Wang Feng was more focused on comprehending his own strength and abilities. At the same time, there were also soul bones. End of this chapter. Chapter 790. He only had 4 soul bones now. Apart from the external soul bone, he only had 3. At this moment, Wang Feng suddenly took out 2 soul bones that were shining with Han light from his soul tool. One was from the dragon teeth sword shark. The other was from the aquamarine golden crystal beast. Both were leg bones. They gave off a 100,000-year glow. The dragon teeth sword shark's leg bone was obtained 3 months ago when whale shark killed 3 aquatic soul beasts. A 100,000-year soul beast would definitely drop a soul bone. Although Wang Feng wasn't the one who killed it, this soul bone wasn't restricted. It was a pity that the situation changed too quickly. No one could absorb the dragon teeth sword shark's soul ring. Only 1 soul bone was left. Whale shark was more considerate then. He knew that his master would definitely need a soul bone. Hence, he swallowed it and stored it. The other soul bone was obtained from the blackwater crocodile after it killed the aquamarine golden crystal beast. It was also a leg bone. The situation was urgent then. The blackwater crocodile naturally swallowed this leg bone and planned to bring it back to claim credit. Only the sky silver sea mother that Xue Jiao was fighting was more cunning. He let it escape. Xue Jiao was a little disappointed over the past 3 months. Wang Feng thought that he was disappointed that he didn't kill the sky silver sea mother and bring the soul bone back to him. "Boss, why don't I kill myself?" Xue Jiao replied. "Otherwise, I'll be embarrassed if Sister Shark and Sister Crocodile bring back their soul bones. My soul bones are with you. It's like I'm always by your side. Isn't that better?" Wang Feng was speechless. What an iron-headed fool. Wang Feng was so angry that he beat him up. In fact, Wang Feng was already very satisfied with these 2 soul bones. Humans shouldn't be too greedy. Furthermore, since they were both leg bones, Wang Feng definitely wouldn't need one of them. However, that didn't mean it was useless. Wang Feng smiled as he looked at these 2 soul bones. It was a gambler's smile. Finally, I can gamble again. Wang Fengxin was a little excited. Although I've learned the 108 methods of mystical energy cauldron control and confused these 2 soul bones, they are still 200,000-year soul bones. That dragon teeth sword shark was close to 200,000 years old, and the jade Qilin golden crystal beast was about the same. The demonic killer whale king was almost done as well. The only difference between the 3 was the species. If it was just a single piece, Wang Feng would not be interested in it. Naturally, he had to fuse with it and hope that he could obtain an even stronger soul bone. It would be best to start at around 50 years. Otherwise, it would not be worthy of his current strength. He summoned the cauldron of heaven and earth, which emitted a faint, mysterious light. It looked somewhat mysterious, especially the image of the cauldron. It gave him the illusion that he was facing the sun, moon, stars, and all living things in the world. Wang Feng didn't say anything as he tossed the 2 soul bones inside. After that, Wang Feng suddenly slapped his palms together and executed the 108 techniques of profound energy control. Suddenly, the cauldron of heaven and earth burst out with an intense, profound light. Every time Wang Feng slapped it, the cauldron of heaven and earth would let out a violent buzzing sound. The 2 different types of light emitted by the soul bone instantly erupted, forming 2 pillars of air that resembled giant dragons that intertwined within the cauldron of heaven and earth. Wang Feng's soul power surged. The profound energy control cauldron was a way to forge, refine, and repair cauldrons. Every refinement would increase one's soul power, causing the cauldron of heaven and earth to become bigger and sturdier. Its defensive abilities would also increase rapidly. It was so strong that it could easily resist the chaotic splitting wind hammer technique. If it was used to refine, it would also consume a lot of soul power. Wang Feng used half a day. After the 108 refinements, Wang Feng's soul power was completely depleted. It was even a little insufficient. Although Wang Feng's soul power was only at rank 78, his soul power was stronger than that of a titled Douluo. His soul power had even undergone mutation. After fusing with these two soul bones, his soul power was completely depleted. Wang Feng wiped the sweat off his forehead, which was rare. He was a little astonished. However, the greater the depletion, the higher the age of the soul bone. After that, Wang Feng waited quietly. Fusion required a process. Before the final product appeared, Wang Fengxin was a little excited. Although he knew that the fusion would be successful, Wang Feng didn't dare to guarantee the quality. Although the part that was formed was the leg bone, there was a 50% chance that it would be the right leg bone. However, Wang Feng already had the right leg bone of the Stardust five-headed dragon. If he had another bone, it would be useless. Although the success rate was guaranteed, there were still many uncertainties. It was just that it wouldn't be completely destroyed. After waiting for about half an hour, suddenly, the cauldron of heaven and earth, which was shrouded in mysterious light, suddenly rang. A dark red pillar of light suddenly erupted from the cauldron. It lit up the surroundings, making it look like a blood-red hell. 400,000 years. It's at least 500,000 years in quality. Wang Feng's eyes brightened. These two soul bones added together were only 300,000 years old. After the fusion with the cauldron of heaven and earth, the cauldron controlling technique, and my mutated soul power, it actually increased by 100,000 years. A strange look appeared on Wang Feng's face. Most of the credit should come from the cauldron of heaven and earth, right? After the mutation of his soul power, the cauldron of heaven and earth's abilities had also increased. It had reached the level where it could truly increase the quality of an item. Although it wasn't that abnormal, the cauldron of heaven and earth's abilities were clearly related to its owner. As long as he was stronger and his soul power quality was higher, the cauldron of heaven and earth would be more effective. A 500,000-year left leg bone. Wang Feng held this sparkling and resplendent left leg bone. Let's not talk about the skull. In terms of age, this soul bone should be the highest among all the soul bones I have. Fusing 200,000-year soul bones is really extravagant. I'm probably the only one in the entire continent who dares to do something like this. If news of fusing 200,000-year soul bones were spread, he would definitely be beaten to death. Who would dare to do something like this? The dragon tooth golden crystal left leg bone. Wang Feng thought for a moment. Since the names of these two soul bones came from 200,000-year soul bones, he would naturally use the names of 200,000-year soul beasts to combine them. After all, it was dropped by two soul beasts. He had to give them some face. It would also prove that these two soul beasts had once been in this world, following which Wang Feng started to absorb this soul bone. It took a very long time for him to absorb it. Although it wasn't a soul ring, it was still a 50-year soul bone. When he absorbed it, Wang Feng still had to fuse it with the 4 soul bones in his body. What surprised Wang Feng was that it was quite painful. It was like a hand that had 4 fingers. The 4 fingers were connected to the heart, but one of them had to be forcefully reattached. Naturally, it was more painful. This was something Wang Feng didn't expect. However, such pain was completely within his tolerance range. It only took slightly more than 10 days. Into this chapter, that you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.